Give me a minute. Try not to sit on my keyboard. Reposition camera. Let's try that. I can edit this section out at the beginning when I figure out the YouTube editor. Ha ha ha! I'm more centralised. And hello, and welcome back to the channel. I am Bragi the Viking, and this is a live stream hangout with subs and me, of course. And unfortunately, Egil's in bed as it's quite late in the evening in the UK, and he needs his sleep. Was hail, Thomas Dale. Welcome. I slightly changed the set around. I hope the shield won't fall down. And I have a helmet above me. I hope that don't land on my head. That would be an authentic accident. Oh yes, so we've got a comment here. Let's start reading the comments straight away. And the comment from Thomas Dale. And that was a great comments video. Ah, thank you very much. And he also says another comment. Thomas says these words. I hope it doesn't fall either. Well, it shouldn't do. It's on a Viking chain and it's kind of attached to my wardrobe door. So unless the whole lot fall down, it should be okay. I'm going to share this in a minute. I'm just getting my breath back. It's quite warm today. You forget how warm this clothing is when you're sitting inside. And thinking about it, I've got no shoes on. Let's put some boots on, and these are my most excellent Viking sea boots. I really do love these boots and the other shoes I've got. They're just so excellently made, and it's a very important aspect of reenacting that you have decent footwear. When we often begin this hobby, our footwear is very basic and very uncomfortable. In fact, I still have my first pair of shoes. We'll have to get them out one day, and they were very uncomfortable. And this is an excellent pair of sea boots. I would really dread to imagine how much these would cost you today to have made by the man who made them. Another important aspect is that they're also got studs on the bottom, which will basically keep them from wearing. Oh, so a comment here from Tetto Sagas. Oh, those boots look familiar. That's out loud. Oh, that's what they do. I've worn them a few times on camera. And they're such a lovely fitting shoe. In fact, I like made my foot. The previous guy I got these from, that was a very old friend of mine. Must have the same size feet as me. Great things think alike. It's very rude not to put my shoes on. Ah, there you go. And that's how a Viking puts his shoes on. There you go. Now one day I am going to buy some authentic socks. I tend to use hiking socks. They're kind of a nice thick coarse wool, and you don't really want to be wearing no binding socks all the time, but you wear them away. So let's carry on with this live stream. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I am Bragi the Viking. I'm a Viking reenactor with over 20 years experience. And I also have another host, Egil, who has many years experience as well. But like I said, he's in bed at this time of night. So we have a comment here from Thomas Dale. Those are good sea boots. I need to upgrade my boot for me to get my sea boots. Oh, indeed you do. What am I making a good pair of boots one day? Something to think about. And we're very lucky really that we have the evidence of Viking shoes, as leather doesn't generally survive in the ground unless it's boggy and wet. And of course what can also happen is that if you don't preserve the leather straight away, then it will very quickly deteriorate, and you could very quickly end up with just a pile of dust. So it's good that we have this evidence, and I think as time goes by we're collecting more evidence about the leatherwork, scabbards. I mean, scabbards are an amazing thing themselves. So if you have any comments for me to read about, I might get a bit warm wearing all this stuff in a few minutes. I might have to take my cloak off. This is the cloak I made rather recently, Thomas. This is out of a blanket, a Confederate blanket. This is more generally a World War II blanket though, generally. So if you can see them, you find them on eBay between £5 and £10. They do make nice material. Now, is the music in the background too loud? Let me know if it is, because I've got some kind of Anglo Saxon music playing, which I kind of created myself from some content creative music on the YouTube. This is a pretty cool blanket. I used to wear this on camp. It was actually made into a fly sheet, so it had the eyelets in it, and no doubt at some point it used to be hung. So I don't know why they had the eye holes in it, so I took them out and I made a small blanket cloak, and I've got some bits of cloth for the out of it for the leg bindings, but you can see the holes where it had these brass eyelets, so I'm having to cover them up and patching them. So this is going to be kind of a rough patchy pair, but I like the idea of it, and eventually I've got to finish these off. The next stage I need to do on these is to fold them over. Because a lot of these leg bindings you find on eBay are just like this, but to me I prefer them to sew them over this way and make it a bit thinner and have it a bit more thicker on the back. It'll just stop the wear of them. So that's good. The music volume's okay. At some point I will turn it off because it's just a repeating track on my iTunes. I thought that had a nice touch for a change. Oh, we've got 6 people watching, so thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions about Vikings, about Viking life, anything like that, that'd be great. I've got a few things to talk about on the vlog today. We're going to talk about horrible histories, because it's now 25 years old. I didn't realise that until I saw the news today. And although I'm a little bit too old to have gotten into horrible histories, it has been a very great thing for educating children about, history. So we'll talk about that. I'll read your comments as always. Now, did you watch the Digging for Britain episode on TV earlier in the UK on BBC 4? We're going to talk about that later on. In fact, I made some notes. I've got to go and dig them out from over there in a minute when we do talk about that. And I thought we could talk about this amazing reproduction of a Staffordshire Hoard helmet made out of some of the fragments. I'll put the link in the chat box when I do talk about it, because I got both the pages linked for me to talk about, and I just thought it was a totally amazing helmet. It's a piece of work. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about this Iron Age chariot find that's been found recently, I believe in Wales. So that's something else we could talk about. And then we're going to end up probably talking at some point in the vlog. I don't know how long, not vlog, the live stream. We're going to talk about YouTube. I'm going to talk about the fact that we've got a new camera. And I'm going to actually get the camera out and show you guys the new camera we got. So it's going to be a great live stream. Let's read some more comments. Tecto Sagas. Thomas, check Etsy too. Yes, there are some great sites on Etsy. In fact, Thomas, there's a lady on Etsy selling hoods. I got this hood, not a bad one. I paid £10 for that, and that came with free postage. Although it's slightly more medieval, and there's a couple of things I'm going to do for this to make it more authentic. It's not a bad price for having something made. The only downside about it, it's got cotton in the inside. So what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to take this cotton out, and I've got some very nice Irish linen. I'm going to reline that with linen and probably just reshape the hood slightly. So yeah, so you can get some great things on Etsy. In fact, I used to sell on Etsy myself. I used to sell runes and Anglo Saxon toilet sets and Anglo Saxon keys, but I kind of just got fed up with doing it, and selling things these days is just so difficult. So let's have a look at some of the other comments. A comment here from Thomas Dale. I remember the Horrible Histories books being used at my school to help make things more relatable. Yes, and I think that's one of the beautiful things about Horrible Histories is that for children they are very relatable. You know, children love comedy and funny things, and one or two of the programs I've seen, I saw one very recently on the Vikings they did, and that was very funny, I must say. So well done to the chap who created the Horrible History series. And anything we can talk about or anything they can do to spread the news about history is a great thing. So a comment here from Thomas Dale. That is a very cool hood. Yeah, it's not a bad hood. She also sells on eBay. She has a very nice one on eBay for £7.50. And they would have been manufactured out of a wool blanket, the type of blanket you get on your bed from the 70s or 60s. So for the price and the amount of time it takes to make one, it's a very good value. So we have a comment here from Tecto Sagas talking about Etsy, and taking a look at Draycraft on Etsy. Very nice indeed. Oh yes, I've seen them. There's some fantastic manufacturers on Etsy. And another thing about Etsy is that you can also ask to have an order made for you. So let's say you've got a hood wanting design with some embroidery, you could have that done on Etsy. Or you wanted a bracelet, a Viking bracelet being made, you can probably get that done on Etsy too. So great place, and I do like the site. And I think recently it's been overhauled as a site on Etsy, so it's a lot more friendly to use. And of course, if you pay by PayPal, then your money is guaranteed, you know. So Thomas Dale, in a comment a little bit way back, says, I'll check Etsy, I'm really up for making a cloak. Well, what I suggest we do, as soon as we can get you some wool, I suggest you come round here and we'll start you off sewing it, so you got the idea of what you got to do, so that you can take it home and you feel probably a bit more comfortable about sewing it then. So I think that'd be a good idea. And this is just a single cloak, so you can have a double cloak with two-sided materials. They're a little bit easy to make because you basically sew them up and you turn them inside out, and then your threads are not seen. But of course it does take 2 pieces of wool. So any more comments? Just you know, I'll keep reading. And Thomas Dale says hello to all viewers. So hello, welcome. We'll see how this goes. I'm a little bit tired today, I must say. I wasn't going to do a live stream tonight, but I didn't really want to miss the opportunity not to do one. And I felt like I just got enough energy to live stream for a couple of hours, see how we go. It might be a shorter live stream. I don't think we're going to beat 2 hours 43 minutes. But you never know. It all depends on the comments I get and if I can keep on talking. Because it's very difficult when you're on your own doing a live stream. You're basically talking all the time. If there's 2 of you, you can bounce off each other and it is a lot easier. Now, on a comment here from Thomas Dale, I did order myself an iron brooch to hold my cloak together. Yes, that would be really good if I could have started off with making a cloak. Well, at some point we could go down my forge, Thomas. You give me a hand, and we could probably make some panania brooches. Not difficult to make. You can make one of them in 20 minutes if you know what you're doing. Or if you're a novice, it will take you probably about an hour and a few tries. But I'd be very up for doing that, because the thing about blacksmithing, it's very difficult to do it on your own. You certainly need 2 of you if you're working on bigger projects like a knife or a scram sax or axe head. If there's 2 of you working, then it's a lot better. So if you want to have a go at blacksmithing with me, Thomas, I'm more than happy to pick you up and take you to the country estate where I have a forge workshop. Not been down for a few months, I've just not been able to get out. With caring for my dad all the time, it just saps all my time. It's just adjust this light. See, that's a bit better. I know we got a much bigger light, but it's not been working today. There we go. You should really move the camera so I've not got the thing in the lamp in view. It's not Viking. And I don't know the thing about brooches. You can never have enough brooches. And this is a very old one from made out of pewter. I don't think I paid £15 for that about 15 years ago. So some of them can be very cheap. I want to buy a copy of the fuller brooch. So Tecto, if you ever see a nice copy of the fuller brooch on Etsy in silver, then please share the link with me, because I do want to buy one of them. It's a very nice brooch. I mean, you could literally spend thousands on brooches and jewellery for this period. If you want to be a very posh Viking with lots of bling. So a comment here from Thomas Dale. That would be great to use a forge to make a few things. I did a bit at college and I do miss it, but that was a decade and a half ago. And another comment after this, Thomas Dale says, brooches are really cool. They certainly are. They're just fascinating brooches, and the different designs, the zoomorphic designs from the earlier brooches and how the brooch developed. You know, you could spend the whole live streams of talking about brooches. I don't know if I could talk about brooches for a whole live stream. Perhaps one day we might demonstrate casting a few brooches, if we ever have an authentic workshop to work from. This is one of the dreams I do have with this channel, to have a longhouse built we can film from, and some outbuildings we can work from, because in order to make a longhouse you certainly would want to make an outbuilding first to do your woodwork and your metal work, because one of the things you're going to need are lots of wooden pins and pegs, and they all take time. And then shingles, you know, you can spend months just making shingles for a roof. And shingles, if you don't know what shingles are, that's just like wooden tiles that you'd use on roofs, normally made out of lime. So I had a go making shingles many years ago, as a friend of mine was doing a shingle roof on his kind of modern house in the countryside, which he built himself. And you know, it's a very hard process and hard work if you're spending all day making them. I made a few hundred that day, but you've got a very large long house and you're going to need thousands of them. And then we have to think about, well, how long are they going to last? 20 years. You're going to have to replace them. Now, what are you drinking? I'm drinking some water at the moment. I'm quite thirsty again. It's because I'm very warm in this clothing, and because I live with my father who's very old, the house is always too warm for me. You know, like old people and warm houses are. So, did you watch the Digging for Britain programme earlier, Thomas, or Tecto? I'd imagine Tecto watched it. Let me go by my notes back in 2 secs. Made some notes earlier. Right, can't find them. They'll turn up in a minute. Sit back down again. I think they might be down there actually. It's a very interesting episode and a new series. I'm looking forward to this new series. If you've not heard of Digging for Britain, and if you can get it on the BBC iPlayer or on the BBC services across the world, I highly recommend that you watch it. Some of the previous series were very, very interesting. Now we've got a comment here from Thomas Dale. Do you drink mead, or do you? Have you finished that comment off? Because the last bit didn't make sense. Take the hat off. I'm already sweating in here. It's like being in a longhouse with a big roasting fire. It was quite interesting. This is my piece of paper. There we go. So let's talk about the first section of the programme, was the Iron Age prehistoric village. Now, I've just thought that was just totally and utterly fascinating, that all that timber was there and survived. I mean, often timber buildings, the timber just doesn't survive. we'll just have the post holes, and from the post holes you can kind of guess and make plans of what the building would look like. But for an Iron Age site to have all that timber left, I just thought that was totally awesome. For somebody who understands and loves woodwork, even more so. And then you have that wooden spindle item was found. That was also fascinating. I think it's very interesting that, you know, it demonstrated how clever the Iron Age people were at wood turning. What that item was, I don't know. I've been trying to figure that out ever since. I think it's got something to do with sewing, perhaps collecting thread. I don't know. It was a sort of fascinating item, and I really got to have a look at it a bit more to try to figure that out. And then the next section we saw where they found this squashed bowl, and it was a wooden bowl. So the bowl would have been turned on a lathe, and then was highly decorated. And because it's been in the ground has compacted it, and it was basically flat. But that was, again, just totally amazing, the fact that, you know, 2,500 years ago, our ancestors had the ability to turn a bowl like that. And to be fair, the bowl had been turning for a lot longer since that, you know, probably from the Bronze Age. We often forget that, you know, we take wood turning for granted these days. And I've done quite a bit of wood turning in my time, made 1 or 2 bowls, very interesting to have a go at. If you never made a bowl on a lathe before, especially on a traditional lathe with a pedal and a overhead bit of wood which will stretch and make your spindle turn, it is just really an amazing thing. It kind of makes you think, you know, they're just so clever, these people. We often neglect that and forget how clever they were. And then the other thing they found was this amazing floor. It had like it was reed. Just read my wooden notes are made on it. It's kind of like a bush sedge floor. So it also shows you that back, you know, 2,500 years ago, they liked comfort in their houses. You know, they wouldn't just have a mud floor. They would go out the way to improve the floor and make it more hospitable for themselves. And you know, you can't blame them for doing that. You know, you was living 2,500 years ago, you would want your house to be comfortable, wouldn't you? You want a, you know, relatively comfy bed. You want some cupboard space to put things in. And you want a decent floor and a good hearth. So I think the fact that, you know, they showed that floor, it's just amazing. It's amazing that it survived. That's what I found fascinating. Let's just go back to a couple of comments. So Thomas Dale says, I thought it interesting that during the section on the Roman fort in Northumbria that they mentioned the Northumbria Civil War during the 700s. Well, I thought they were talking about the Civil War in the 200s rather than the 700s. So you might be wrong on that. But again, you know, that's another amazing site, is Vindolanda. A place I don't think I've been as an adult. I went as a child with my parents, definitely. But I've not been as an adult, and I'd love to go there. Because it's probably one of the best sites really in the UK, you know, for Roman remains. And the amount of information and finds they've dug up from there is just totally fascinating. Especially the lead plates with basically messages in from people. You know, it's just mind blowing. It's like the only way I can describe it. And then when they was digging in Vindolanda, they found these Roman shoes, and they were taking you through the process of how they preserved them. That alone was fascinating. But what I thought fascinating was that on the site of Vindolanda, they have found 1,000 Roman shoes, but only 45% of them, if I'm correct, related to adults and men generally. So it shows you that a large community of Vindolanda was women and children. So yet again, that was also fascinating. It truly is a magnificent site, and especially for the Corbridge armour and the Larka Segmata which they found. If you ever visit the UK, you live in America or somewhere else, I do recommend you go to Vindolanda up north. It'll just blow your mind away. So I've got a couple of comments here. Thomas Dale, Tetto, there are some lovely brooches on there. Oh, there sure are. And Tetto left a link earlier. to a trader on Etsy. So yeah, go and check that link out. It's in the comments in this live stream, and we'll be there forever. Well, as long as YouTube's around. Just sort out some of my bangles I'm wearing. I've got some bling on today. Every Viking needs a bit of bling. And another comment from Tecto Sagas. Space aliens built those houses, clearly. Oh yeah. It does make you think, you know, we take our ancestors for granted and we kind of think that they're dumb and they're not so clever, but they were more clever, I think, what we were in this modern world. And then the other thing I thought was fascinating on the Digging for Britain episode was the Anglo Saxon burial cemetery they found. It was in a place called Scremby. I thought that was fascinating. They dig 25 graves, and all but one of the graves had finds. So that was also very fascinating in itself. That is a very rich site. The people, the early Saxons who lived there, were very rich. They had a lot of wealth. And certainly some of the jewellery they found, some of the brooches they found was fascinating. I thought the grave of the young woman and the baby with all those beads, now that was quite amazing. I mean, we take it for granted, you know, but beads cost money those days. One bead was a week's wages. So you couldn't fundamentally afford to buy beads if you was poor. You had to be rich. So that's also something fascinating about that programme. So if you've not heard of Digging for Britain, I do urge you to go and check it out. And then the other site they found was an Orkney. Let me just get my piece of paper. It was on the island of Rousey, where they was digging up some Iron Age Neolithic tomb. But they found that nearby to the tomb, people have been living post the Neolithic tomb era, and they were basically just like copper workers' workshop or blacksmith workshop, where in fact they had an anvil stone where they found the greasy fingerprints of whoever was working there. Now that's just totally mind-blowing. You think 2,500 years ago there was some man in a stone shack with another dude working the bellows, and his hands were all black, so he must have whacked them on the anvil stone, and he left that mark there, which is still there today. So I do recommend it. It's a brilliant series. So Thomas Day on a comment says, I watched a bit of the Vikings programme on just before Digging for Britain. Neil Oliver always pronounces Vikings as if it's in italics. Yeah, so I watched that programme too. It kind of reminded me of the title of the, I think it's the Magnarsson series in the 80s, Vikings. In fact, I got the book on it. In fact, if you go down the charity shop in the Oxfam shop in Derby, has a copy of that book for about £10. It's a really good book by Magnarsson. So if you've got £10, Thomas, go and get it. So yeah, it's another great series. The next episode is where they talk about the Eastern Viking, and he goes to Istanbul, place where I've been about 3 times in my life. And he talks about, you know, how they was trading from the east and the amber and how rich they were and the Varangian Guard. So it's a very cool series. Another one I highly recommend. If I ever find any trailers for these series, I will review them in a video. It might be harder for us to review the whole, you know, the whole episode, because how could you justify doing it in an hour? You couldn't. And Thomas Dale says, I'll check that. Cool. And that's another link, which is from Tecto Sagas. Thomas, now check this excellent trader. Brought lots from this one. And it's a Para Paris. And that's another trader from Etsy. I'm not sure if I've seen Para Paris. I'll have to check that trader out. I am looking at buying some more brooches. You can never have enough Viking bling in your life. And let's not forget the Saxon bling as well. We're not just all about Vikings on the channel. We also love the Saxons too. The Saxons were very cool, so were the Vikings. Now one thing which Neil Oliver didn't really talk about was the early Vendel period, which is a kind of a shame. He talked about the prehistoric Iron Age Viking, pre-Viking era, but he kind of vastly missed out the Vendel area. And I don't know how you could possibly do that, because the Vendel period, the pre-Viking era of the Vendels, was very important. Let alone the craftsmanship from that era, and the Vendel helmets were just totally awe-inspiring and mouth-watering. I love one of them, all of them. So Thomas Dale in the comment says, I will check those out better shortly. Well, yes, please do so after this live stream has ended. I think I'll be checking them out too. I do like Etsy. It's a really nice place to buy things. So Thomas Dale in a comment says, I know that Vikings are dramatic. It's italics doesn't make them more so. No, it doesn't. But that's just Neil Oliver for you. But he is a very good archaeologist, and I really enjoy his programmes he does. Are you getting bored of the music yet? Because it's just the same track repeating itself every 3.5 minutes. So I think by about 2 hours you might be bored of it. You would have no more Anglo Saxon lyre music, please. Because another thing about having lots of silver and Viking jewellery is that you're constantly cleaning it and polishing it. You've got to have it nice and bright, and I've been polishing a few things recently, like my scabbards. I've been polishing them. I've been trying to polish this wire. It's a bit rusty, and I don't really want to have to take the sword apart to redo it. So, although years ago I sandblasted this blade, it does need polishing up again. This is a lovely sword. This is a Denby blade, and a Denby are like rocking horse poo. You can't get them anymore, and they're one of the best Viking blades you could ever have. They're so tough. You can literally, they're just tough. You can hit an anvil with it and it won't break. You know, you're more likely to break the anvil. So I have a comment here from Thomas Dale. I have seen Wolfland. I've only had a brief look at them though. Yeah, another great sight. And we have a comment here from Jarl Kilduff. Ah, good evening. Ah, good night. In the Viking tongue. Good night. And Tetto Sagas says in a comment, ah, Bragi, thought you had someone for cleaning your kit. Really, I got Olaf, the former slave I had. Then I sold him, but it's back to own him again now. And Thomas down a comment, I got the brooch from Gelling Dragon. Yes, another great company. I had a look on their website the other day. They do have some nice stuff from Gelling Dragon. I don't know what prices are like, competitive wise. Now, one trader I've been trying to remember the name of was Druid. Perhaps Tetto might know this. Is Druid still trading? And what did he trade under? Because I can never remember the business he traded under. So, Joel the Kilduff, comment here from him. Celtic God tells me via message you can't stream whilst he's at work. Yeah, I know. I was going to live stream last Friday. It was my fault. The camera was playing up. Give me a minute, I should be coming back on the screen. I know when I see myself. Well, where am I? That's the last live stream. I was looking for the live stream, so just bear with me. This is one of the problems when you live stream, is that you do get these problems. Especially the internet drops off. Now we're currently at 443 subs, which is excellent and brilliant at the same time. I'm actually very close to hitting 15,000 views. We're actually 23 views from that. So that is another amazing achievement. Just give me a minute, I don't know if I'm live streaming still. Look at my camera. Extreme close up. Extreme close up. Here we go. Found it again. I've been watching too much Wayne's World. So for watching, haha, hello, and welcome back. It is I, Bragi. I keep losing my rings. Stay on there. So there we go. I'm all blurry. Wait for the camera to focus. At some point I'm going to try to figure out how to live stream with the new SLR, digital SLR camera, but it's going to take me a while to figure that one out. So we've got a comment here from Jarla Kilda. Is fat here causing trouble? Indeed, I think so. And Thomas Dale says it's Grendel's fault. Indeed it is. And then Tecto Sagas says, Thomas, you could lose an afternoon browsing Wolfland. Also check out Norduf for some tasty jewellery replicas. I'll check them out as well. Seems like you're very eyed up on the traders from this period. And if anybody lets me know about Druid, I'd love to know whether Druid's still trading, because he made some fantastic castings. I wish I bought more stuff of Druid back in the day. But you don't think about these things. Oh, I'm very blurry. Let's try to go live. Thomas Dale says, though Grendel isn't a troll. And Thomas Dale in another comment says, all other internet trolls. Luckily they haven't found us yet on this channel. Saying that, they'll probably find us now. Although people always get upset about bad comments on YouTube. But you shouldn't do, really. Because at the end of the day, it's interaction. And YouTube love interaction. So if you get a bad comment on your channel, you just do the simple thing. You just hide the comment from the user. And any more comments they'll get to be hidden. And they can leave all the comments they want. And they'll never be seen. But yet you still have the interaction. It's the same with thumbs downs on videos. Not a bad thing. I mean, lots of videos have gone viral because of the fact that they've had lots of thumbs down. Although I think recently we've had 3 thumbs down and we now have 11 on the channel. And if I recall, we got over 1,500 likes. And the last 3 likes were one on the folktale I told, the kettle that would not work. And the other 2 dislikes were one on the trailer review of the 13th Warrior, and the other trailer review of the 2nd series trailer of The Last Kingdom. So that's the latest news on dislikes on the channel. They're definitely not going to Valhalla. Anyway, Tecto Sagas in the comment, Bragi, you must be seeing something from Nordorf in Santa's sack. Oh, excellent. I do love it when Santa brings me nice presents. Oh, yes. It does make me think, if you saw Santa and his reindeer, now I'll definitely get very hungry and want to eat some of his reindeer. Very nice meat. And the fur's lovely too, as long as it's treated nice and it doesn't leak hairs everywhere. The thing about reindeer fur, if it's not treated right with its skins, they just shed skin, hairs everywhere. You know, I'm still finding reindeer hairs from like 10 years ago. That's always mad. So Thomas Dale says, we'll just send Beowulf after the internet trolls. Indeed. Just send a hero. Perhaps internet trolls are like the Draugr. They cannot be touched by nobody except a hero. And Thomas Dale says, with some fried onions. I don't actually like onions. That's probably the first time I told that on the channel. I don't mind very tiny onions fried, but give me a big onion fried and we'll eat it. Ugh. It's almost as bad as Brussels sprouts. You know, it makes you think, you know, there must have been Vikings who didn't like veg and, oh, I'm not eating that. I think Brussels sprouts are the work of the devil, or Loki, but that's another story. So, Tecto Sega says, Thomas, last plug for tonight, Tillerman beads. Oh, yes. Museum quality, individually handmade replicas of glass beads from many periods. Stunning. Yes, I want to actually order some Iron Age beads from them, for my Iron Age impression. And definitely some more Viking beads. I do have quite a few Viking beads actually. I've probably got a couple hundred of them. But they're in a box over there. I could probably fill a chest of beads. It's something I never made actually. I never made a bead. So that's something I might have a go at in the future. So Thomas Dale says in the comment, oh, Tillerman beads. I'll check them out as well. Yes, I really do like that trader. just fantastic beads. And if you ever wanted a reproduction of the beads from Wrexham, from the man there, he makes them, along with a little Thor's hammer. Now, in a comment here from Tecto Sagas, this is quite controversial. There's no wrong with sprouts. Yes, there is. Sprouts are evil. They only come out at Christmas. And I've never ate a sprout in my life, and I'm never going to. You can batter it in nice batter. I still wouldn't eat it. Thomas Dale says, onions are the work of the Duck of Evil. But perhaps the Duck of Evil is the work of Loki. And in the comment here, Tecto Saga says, Bragi, you may be seeing a little something from Tillerman too. Oh yes. Fantastic beads. Also, Tillerman, so a comment here from Tecto Sagas, Tillerman does demonstrations, etc. I never actually don't think I've ever seen anybody make beads, so that would be fascinating to watch and to talk about on camera and to film. So, if I can ever get away and start travelling again, then I will do. Okay. My axe is sticking in my back, let's get rid of that. You can always need that axe. I've already got 3 weapons on today, so I'm not that tooled up. And Thomas Dale says, Repton, a really cool place. Oh yeah, it really is a nice place. I used to often travel through Repton on a Saturday regularly in the past to go and see friends, but I don't now. And Tecto Saga says, Bragi, you are such a kit tart. Laughed out loud. Well, I was in the Civil War because of my bright red trousers. It's just tarty kit it was. I was nearly going to go in my attic earlier and bring out my kite shield and look for the Temperance in Training Society sign, because I know it's up there somewhere. I'm going to hang it on my wall. Those were the days. So, Thomas Dale says, only 3 weapons, you're basically Rambo, aren't you? Ah, yes, I could make a knife like Rambo. Not Rambo though. It's good films though, I did enjoy the films. Have you seen the latest Rambo film? Not bad. I like to see Rambo in the Viking Age. Send him back in the time machine. I don't, he's probably too old now, Sylvester Stallone. And I don't think he watches. So. Oh yes, and Thomas Dale says, that sign needs an airing. Indeed it does. It needs to be taken back out on camp and the society re-brought back to life. I know my old drinking friend Duncan would love that. And the Confederates will certainly love me to rejoin, as I know all the songs. Even one about Wales. And there's a comment here from Thomas Dale. He was on Stamford Bridge. Indeed. I often think about that lone berserker on the bridge at Stamford. What a brave man. I think there should be a statue, set aside for him. As we often have statues of kings and folks like that. But of an ordinary man, he did an amazing thing of defeating so many men on a bridge. There ought to be a statue of him. What is a statue of a Viking? A big tough one. And Tecto Saga says, it is really a sight to behold. Bragi disappearing, not in a cloud of dust, but a pile of weapons. Well, I do have quite a few. A lot of them I brought off Tyrkir, Thorkelson. You have to pronounce that with a bit of oomph to it. This was a Tyrkir Thorkelson blade. I've actually just rebrowned the scabbard on this with some shoe polish, and it really turned out nice. And then I often use veg oil or olive oil. Olive oil is the best. I use olive oil to soften the leather. No, Thomas Dale, we're not going to have a statue of a Viking with a backsword. It's insulting. There's no Viking in his life would do that and walk around and not expect to be ridiculed by everybody. Just open the shields and just taste. I don't want a shield malfunction. I'm not blurred, am I? Am I blurred on screen? Because I'm blurred on my screen. Let me know. And Thomas Day also says, ha! Ha ha! So, do you have any questions about Vikings? I'm more than happy to talk about them. Or perhaps we might start thinking about one of the other things we can talk about. We'll talk about this reproduction of this Staffordshire helmet. Just give me a minute, I'm going to link it now and put it in the comments. Just give me a minute. And I thought this replica was just totally awesome. It's just mouth-watering stuff. You'll see it in a minute. I'll put the link in. Here we go. Just found the keyboard so I can press return. So this helmet is a replica of fragments they found at the Staffordshire Hoard. So no doubt somebody very clever, probably some professor of archaeology, thought that there must have been enough parts to make a helmet. So I only heard about this today, so I'm actually very fascinated by it. And we'll go to it and we'll look at the picture. So the first picture we'll see is a woman staring at this helmet. It's a helmet thought to have been worn by a king, has been reconstructed 9 years after fragments of the original were found within the Staffordshire Hoard. Of 4,000 pieces dug up in a field in 2009, up to a third were remnants of the rare Anglo Saxon helmet, one of only a small number ever found in the UK. Birmingham Museum Trust said, the Staffordshire Hoard is the largest treasure hoard of its kind in the UK. The reconstruction helmets are going to be shown at Birmingham and Stoke-on-Trent, not that far away. Stoke-on-Trent is a place with lots of bridges. Pieces discovered near Lichfield 9 years ago are comparable to those from the Sutton Hoo helmet found in Suffolk in 1939. Experts studied the fragments, believing to be more than 1,300 years old, to build up a picture of the original. And if you click that link, you'll see this most fabulous helmet. The plates alone are just awe-inspiring, and then you think about the craftsmanship to actually manufacture this helmet. For me, as somebody who understands the process of making these things, it just blows my mind. So let's carry on reading. The pieces go on show at Birmingham Museum and Art Gallery and the Pottery Museum and Art Gallery in Stoke-on-Trent from this Friday, joining other items from the 7th century collection on permanent display. After nearly 10 years, Staffordshire Hoard is still giving up on its secrets, Dr. Ellen McAdam from the Birmingham Trust said, and it's no doubt going to be revealing many more secrets for all the years ahead that the research is going to take. Research has shown us that the hoard contains fragments of a helmet. Only Anglo-Saxon kings wore helmets. Well, that's not fundamentally true. If you had the money, you could afford a helmet. You just may not have the money to afford a helmet like this. So only Anglo-Saxon kings wore helmets, and this is one of the very small number ever to be found. So, and then it just talks about the Staffordshire Hoard, which I've already seen videos on that on the channel. So I just thought that was totally awe-inspiring. Now I wonder who made it. I wonder if it's an Ivor Lawton helmet. This is the same man who made this helmet here. The Coppergate. I won't be surprised if it wasn't. Let's face it. He's one of the best manufacturers of helmets like this. So let's go back and we'll read your comments. Let me know what you think about this helmet. So Thomas Dale in a comment says, that needs to be made viral and sent to Hollywood to stop them from doing backsword. Oh yeah. And Thomas Dale says, I'm just eating some dried meat. That is amazing that it has been treated. Yes, that's something I need to do actually, is treat this out. So give me a minute. The advantages of modern technology. I mean, where would we be about this technology? Well, I wouldn't be here doing a live stream. You're never going to see a Luddite doing stuff like this. That's been shared on our Pinterest site. This is a website we're developing. We're doing Northworthy. I'm very slowly building up a massive database of authentic pictures of things. So as I progress, I will definitely look into that some more. I'm just going to share this on Twitter. So if you want to retweet this, Thomas, that would be most excellent of you. Totally awesome, dude. I'm just going to do a plain tweet. There you go. Now I'll go back to some of your comments. I've seen a couple here. It's not easy working a mouse on a war chest full of swords and axes, scrams, langseaxes. So Sagas says, to be honest, it's likely that there are bits of more than one helmet. However, this interpretation is simply stunning. There's another recreation in a slightly style of Dave Roper. It's on YouTube. I've not heard of Dave Roper for ages. And Thomas Dale says, ooh. And there's a link here from Sagas. Here's a link to the Dave Roper one. Alright, have a look at that at some point. And Joel Colduff in the comments says, oh great, you're back. Yeah, I think the camera kind of froze on us. So, it's a learning curve doing all this. So it's my non-authentic patch, do it later this material. But I just got my dried meat and bacon in there. I often eat like a reenactor. I just eat bacon and dried meat and bread and cheese. Without that kind of food, I won't eat on camp. Yeah, so that's a totally awesome find and reproduction, and I really do love to know who made that helmet. I'd imagine it could be Ivor Lawton, but I don't know. I mean, he'll probably charge like 25 grand for that helmet. So, but museums have the money to spend on that kind of money. I believe he recently made the Sutton Hoo replica for the British Museum, so it does show you the kind of workmanship he has is just incredible, and something to aspire to if you're ever into crafts. And Thomas Dale says, hello again, Charlie Kilduff. Yes, hello, welcome. It's great to see you here on the channel. And Thomas Dale says, I'll watch those in a bit. So Sagas have left a few links to some videos which I highly approve of, and I'll be checking them out later on. So what else can we talk about? So another thing I saw, I had a link sent to me from Sagas the other day, and I'll put this link up next for you guys to look at, is the Pembrokeshire treasure hunter. He unearthed a chariot from the Celts, an Iron Age Celtic chariot, and some of the mountings and fittings with enamel on it. It's just totally amazing. You know, as somebody with a background in engineering and manufacturing, I just find this stuff awe-inspiring. That our ancestors had the ability to manufacture things like this. You know, I mean, if we try to manufacture these things today, it would take a lot of work and a lot of money. So it does show you how clever they were. They were extremely clever. But they weren't barbaric. You know, people always think our ancestors were barbaric. Well, they're not. They weren't barbaric at all. Alright, I'll have to have a look at that. I'm still very blurry on my screen. I hope not blurry on your screens. I hate to be blurry. I've definitely got some sharp edges. So a comment here from Thomas Dale. The Staffordshire Hoard is an amazing. I wonder if there's more similar hoards. It makes you think what's out there to be found. The Staffordshire Hoard was found in 2009 by a metal detectorist called Terry Herbert, and it was from a freshly ploughed field near Hammerwich, near Lichfield, which is very close to us. and it was deposited in a remote area south of the Roman road of Watling Street, if I recall. And it was west of Leptocetium, which is an old Roman town. And it's the largest Anglo Saxon hoard ever found in the UK, and by far one of the most important hoards. It's amazing to think that in that hoard there was over 3,500 pieces. Although I think since then they've found some more, so it's now over 4,000, I believe. And I believe the gold weight was 5.1 kilograms of gold and 1.4 kilograms of silver fines. So that alone is just outstanding, the ratio of gold to silver. And as a modern reenactor, we don't wear gold. Not many of us can afford it, you know. Who want to go to battle with a nice gold garnet hilt on your sword? I wouldn't. I'll be dreadful that it'll get damaged. So one of the things about the Staffordshire Hoard was the garnet encrusted jewellery. I think the garnet encrusted jewellery is just fascinating in itself. But it was speculated to be buried in the 7th century, so it's just an amazing find. If you ever have a chance to go and look at the hoard, I recommend you do so. And I do know it's travelled the world as well. So just go back to some of the comments. So I'm going to talk about this chariot next. So Thomas Dale says, the chariot truly is amazing, yes. Thomas Dale in the comment says that it can survive so long like that without being found until now. And then Teto Sagas in a comment, did you know the carpenter essentially means chariot maker? No, I didn't actually know that. One of the often things you think about on doing a channel like this, you often think about the etymology of words. So I am compiling a list of the words we use and the words back from the day, you know, because often it's very difficult to get away from modern language and just try to stick with the more ancient language. Very difficult to determine the two and to get that right. It's often when I think about telling folk tales, I try to think, well, let's not try to use modern words. It can be very difficult not to do that. So we have a comment here from Jarl Kilder. I always wonder how different history will be the Viking settlement Greenland and Newfoundland had lasted. Well, I think America would be vastly different. It would have been colonised by the Europeans a lot earlier. And then no doubt the Vikings would have travelled further down south and colonised. And if they'd done that, which is often speculated that they did, although the evidence hasn't really been found yet, then no doubt they would have found a much better land to settle in. And with doing that, they would have been far more successful. I mean, Newfoundland isn't exactly very well known for being land which is easy to live off if you're not used to this area. So it does make you think. And I expect at some point in the future we will find more evidence of the Vikings being in North America. It's just a matter of time. But I think it's a controversial subject because they like to, you know, say, well, Columbus found America. But then again, you also have these rumours from the, you know, the TV series The Curse of Oak Island, where it talks about some of the medieval people, you know, the Knights Templars, that's it, are speculated to have travelled to North America and the Newfoundland area. But yet again, that's just speculation. So let's go back to some comments. One from Teto Sagas. Bragi, it's a shame the migrational period is largely ignored. The Viking age is a silver age, but the Anglo Saxon had the golden age. Yes, and I think that's true. We definitely more associate Vikings with silver and Saxons with gold. And it's funny that, isn't it? Why didn't the Vikings consider gold to be more valuable? They certainly would have traded and used gold, but I think silver was more dominant. Perhaps silver was easy to get, I don't know. It's a video on its own, that, and you could talk about that subject for days. But yes, you're definitely right, the early migrational period isn't talked about enough. people are obsessed with the Viking Age, but we forget the early migrational period. It is a vastly important period in European history. Something we'll no doubt talk about, and as Egil develops his knowledge again, picks up on these things, and then see Egil talk about these things a bit more in the future. Don't laugh, Tecto. And we'll carry on from there. So, a comment here from Tecto Sagas. Bragi, carpenter, comes from Latin. Yes, I won't be surprised. Then we have a comment here from Thomas Dale. One more thing, it was Columbo that found America. Yeah, I've not seen a Columbo episode for ages. Great actor. I really like that World War II film he was in, but I've forgotten now the name of it. I've seen far too many films in my life. So we have a comment here from Jarla Kilder. I think the Vikings traded a lot of silver from the Franks and the Muslims of Baghdad. Oh, no doubt. I mean, if you could go to Iran, you could probably pick up, our dinariums from the day for next to nothing by the bucket load. But it's very difficult going to Iran these days, and especially going looking for dinari. But I'd love a big bucket load of them. I might melt a few down and make some nice things out of them, and keep a lot. And a comment here from Tecto Sagas. Bragi, I'm trying not to laugh, honest. It's a subject we often talk about. But I do hope, the content we're making on this channel is getting better. It's one of the things we're always constantly looking at. I mean, I'm certainly doing more research these days. In fact, you can see the kind of research notes we're doing. There's two there. This is my research notes on the Staffordshire Hoard, and the recent video I did on the Newark tour. So I don't know if you'll see them. So by making notes like this, it's just improving the content, I find, and it also means that we're being more accurate. Because the last thing I wanted to be on this channel was inaccurate. I mean, authenticity and having credibility is very important when you're talking history and you're trying to educate people. And today I actually did change the channel category, because on YouTube you can categorise your content, and previously when we first started the channel we would have been classed as an entertainment channel, but I now today moved ourselves to educational, so then we're now education channel on YouTube. So, and Tecto Saga says, Jarla K. Yeah, you're right, there is a huge proportion of Eastern coinage from the likes of Baghdad, etc., which in itself is fascinating. Oh yes, you can go to Baghdad and you'll still be digging up Viking coins and dinaries which they would have traded. In fact, I have one, an authentic one from the 9th century I use as a bracelet, a necklace, a brooch. They often would have been turned into brooches. That alone is fascinating. But I don't think I'll be going to Baghdad anytime soon. It's probably slightly dangerous. I would love to go to some of these places like that, because you do have a chance to dig up these things. But I also imagine there'll be lots of fakes about. I certainly remember going to places like, Turkey and buying Roman coins for next to nothing. But you never know whether they was original or not. I mean, there's lots of fakes being manufactured these days, and they're very clever. The people who make fakes, they know how to make it look authentic. So Thomas Dale in a comment says, the trade the Vikings had, and that they managed to be bodyguards around that area, is absolutely astonishing. And I bet could be a series in itself. Yes, it could be. I'd definitely like to go to Istanbul again one day. It's a fascinating country. And I was very lucky to go to some of the very big Roman cities that are there in Turkey. And they alone are just purely amazing sights. And I also went to that temple which is in like a valley. And it's the one from the one of the movies. I'm trying to think the name of it a minute. Turkey's just an amazing place to visit. There's so much history in Turkey. Definitely worth visiting. I've not been to Turkey for many years, but I would love to go back. So, any more comments? I've not actually talked about this chariot yet, so let's go and have a look, and we'll read you some information about this chariot, because I thought this find was just amazing. So I'll put the link earlier on the comments. And the metal detectorist has found what he thought to be the first Celtic chariot burial to be uncovered in Wales. The burial ritual was reserved for high-ranking chiefs who would be interred complete with their chariot, horses, tack and even weapons. I mean, that alone is just an amazing thought to think about them being buried with all that stuff. Mike Smith believes his find may point to a huge undiscovered Iron Age settlement nearby. Yes, possibly. National Museum Wales describes the find as significant and exciting. I mean, just the mounts with the enamels are exciting alone, let alone the whole chariot and the rest of the finds. The actual location is south of Pembrokeshire. It's being kept secret while archaeologists prepare for some major dig next year. Well, if you're looking for an archaeologist to hire, I know one. His name's Egil. His first find in February came purely by chance, as his favourite hunting ground was waterlogged, forcing him to switch to another field where he had not found much luck before. So that's quite fascinating in itself. It shows, you know, how fate made him go to another field. If the original field wasn't waterlogged, he may never have found this chariot. It will still be there today. But this time he found what he thought was the medieval brooch. Well, you could easily understand that from the enamelling on the brooch. It could look medieval. He emailed a picture to an expert contact who said it was part of a Celtic horse harness dating from around 600 BC. Mr. Smith of Milford Haven went straight back the following day. Well, I would go back in the evening, not the day. He dug down to find more pieces, their red enamelling still vivid, as you can see in the pictures, and realised what the collection might mean. I knew the importance of them straight away, said Mr. Smith, who has been prospecting for around 30 years. So I wonder if this is Mr. Smith's best find as a metal detectorist. I'd imagine it would be. It was just instinct. I read all about chariot burials and just wished it could have been me. So finding this has been a privilege. Well, it's a privilege just to talk about it. He still had to convince the experts. One of them he first spoke to told him, "No, you're wrong. One never has been found in this part of the country. A chariot, that is." But by June, a preliminary excavation was underway by Staffordshire Archaeological Trust and National Museum of Wales, partly funded by Cadler. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right. My pronunciation of Welsh is not very good, which manages many of the Welsh historical monuments and buildings. Ground-penetrating radar showed the pattern of the burial ditches and walls, suggesting a large, previously unknown Celtic settlement, possibly bigger than Castle Henlys, an important archaeological site in North Pembrokeshire. Then a trial excavation revealed the tops of a pair of chariot wheels. I would love to have been there. It would have been just totally awesome to witness that. Often the wheels were laid flat. Yes, they were, said Mr. Smith, but this one appeared to have been buried intact. Well, that's quite unusual, because normally they disassemble the chariot, from what I've read before, on Iron Age chariot burials. It could have been a chieftain or a queen sitting in it. Yes, very likely. There would have been a mound over it, but the mound has gone. So the mound probably got ploughed away over time. And he believes that the ploughing might have brought the finds closer to the surface, which is often happens in any kind of find, that the ploughing does bring up finds. Especially these days when tractors become, well, they can plough very deep. So the site has now been recovered and given legal protection with full excavation planned for next year. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they find in 2019 at this site. Now perhaps this is a video, we can make a video on this in the future. A National Museum of Wales spokesman said full excavation of the site and Analysis of the find will need to be carried out before we fully understand the importance of it. National Museum of Wales is working on the partners of this continued treasure case and developing its detailed and fully refunded proposal for further investigation. It is intended that a wider museum project will be developed. I wonder if they're going to manufacture or make a reproduction of it. That will be fascinating to see. To offer opportunities to local communities near the find spot to engage with its discovery and to become involved in revealing new stories about the prehistoric past. So I thought that was just a fascinating find. Although we are primarily a Viking Dark Age channel, we cannot neglect our ancestors of the Iron Age. And how can we not possibly talk about such things like this? Just amazing. So let's just go back, see if you've got any more comments, because I can't read the comments at the same time as read something else. So Thomas Dale says the trade. Now I read that one. Tecto Sagas, in Egil, he don't like being told, does he? Fact is, I'm happy to put research up against his. Oh, fair enough. The thing about Egil is, it's slightly outdated in a degree, because a lot of his knowledge he would have read years ago. But I know he has been reading more books and trying to gain more knowledge and get himself up to date. It's just so much to read about. It can be quite daunting. And I think he's, getting more used to being in front of the camera. It's not easy if you're not used to being in front of the camera. And trust me, Egil isn't. It's a totally new thing for him this year to be in front of a camera. So he has done well, and no doubt he will improve in time. So Thomas Dale in a comment says, yeah, I seem to think that burials with chariots in are, as you say, normally dismantled, but that Welsh chariot is amazing. It totally is. It makes you think, why did chariots go out of fashion? Why didn't the Anglo Saxons come onto the idea of using chariots? Is it because too much time had gone past between the Celts who used the chariots and the migrational period? Possibly so. Although if you watch the Viking series, apparently they did have chariots, which is totally ludicrous. So I've got a comment here from Jarla Kilduff. Is it true that the first Russian kingdom at Staraya Ladogha and later Kiev was founded by Vikings? I have heard this, but many Russian archaeologists deny it. Yeah, well, I think the term Russia comes from the Rush, so yeah, that's very true. I don't know why Russian archaeologists are denying it. Is it because they don't want to think that the Europeans founded Russia? Well, possibly so. Would it make them look weaker? Possibly so. And we do live in a day and age where there's conflict with Russia, you could say. But it's a very interesting subject. It is down the list to talk about the Rus and to do a long video on them. So just bear with us. It's just a matter of getting the research done and having everything correct. We don't want to talk about something and not be correct. Well, I don't want to be. I like to be accurate as I possibly can be. One of the reasons why at the beginning of the year I had to decide whether to continue this channel or not was the basis of being credible. I am not a trained archaeologist. I'm an engineer by trade. So, for me that was very important. And I do hope we are delivering on that. And I certainly think the series I'm doing on the Hoards will deliver that as well. Yes, well, you can get some nonsense and some repetitive nonsense at times, but unfortunately, whilst we get away with it now, we definitely will not get away with it in the future, because there are lots of very intelligent people on YouTube and the internet who know an awful lot of things about Dark Age and Viking society and the Anglo Saxons. It's always surprising me to read comments, especially from people like Cheetah, who know so much about the Dark Ages, but they even live in Europe. So it always amazes me how much our subscribers know. So I just read this comment from Teto's Sagas. Bragi, I set all those points, but they do not excuse the nonsense. If you do not know, just say so, don't make stuff up. Well, I do love the word speculation. If you're not sure you're talking about something in history, you say, well, in speculation. And then that kind of covers that. Although I think it's best and wise not to make things up as you go along and to get things right. So we have a comment here from Thomas Dale. I've heard that a lot, that the Rus tribe had settled around Kiev, but I heard that there's very little in the way of archaeological evidence, and most of it is from documentation. Well, I expect that there must be more archaeological evidence out there, because let's face it, wherever the Vikings went, they left things behind. Whether it's just being censored from the Russian point of view, I don't know. But it's a kind of a thing on YouTube, you know, the censorship of archaeology. You've only got to look at the example of New Zealand. How the New Zealand government don't like talking about the fact that New Zealand's been settled for thousands of years. And that if you go into the mountains of New Zealand, you will find these monument stone structures, which definitely look very old. So it is a big debate about censorship on history. So Jarla Calder says, you're doing well. I am doing an archaeological degree, but you have much more knowledge than me. Well, I do have quite a big library, so I've over the years I've been well read, but I've also been influenced by people who I met over the years, you know, like T.K. Thorkelson. The amount of times we spent relaxing and hanging out together around his old bungalow and talking about the Vikings and Anglo Saxons. I've learnt a lot of information from T.K. and from some of the other very good friends who shall remain unnamed, but friends I will never forget. So Teto Sagas, in a comment, said these words: back in the Cold War times especially, it was politically dangerous to suggest Russia was founded by Western people. Well, yes, you could very easily see that. And then a comment here from Jarla Kilduff. I think they want to claim that Rurik, the leader of the Rus, was Slavic rather than Nordic, because they don't want to think that Vikings dominated Slavic tribes in the area. Well, I think that's true as well, to a big degree. I mean, the Nordic Vikings just went everywhere and conquered everywhere. And as a tribe, you know, they would have no doubt traded with the Slavic Vikings. They would have no doubt fallen out with the Slavic Vikings. This is where you get some of these amazing stories. So we have a comment here on Teto Sagas. Yeah, that makes sense too, Jarda K. Yeah, it does. But it's about time we got rid of this internet censorship on history, you know. Let's face it, you know, the Vikings founded America and discovered it, not Columbus. Then probably the medieval times, the Knight Templars went over there with a Scottish man, I forget his name. If you ever seen the Curse of Oak Island series, well, they talk about it a lot. So I'm looking forward to seeing the next series, but I hope at some point they're going to find something rather than just keep digging holes. But it is a very curious island. But some days I do find out these programs a bit too long-winded, and you just go bang your head against the wall, and you just wanted to get on with it and actually find something. You always need a good knife. I might try cutting some bread with this. I've actually cleaned this up, Teto, the other day. It's slowly being cleaned up because I felt sorry for the knife. It was a bit rusty, but now it's a lot better. That's another thing about reenactment, is that you spend a lot of your time caring for your kit, but one of the most useful tools you could learn is how to sew. And if you can't sew, have a go and sew a little bag, or a little, you know, nest bag. Make one of these. This is Bragi's bag of hats. In fact, I might get this out later. We could try some hats on, because I do like making hats, and I do have quite a few Viking hats. No doubt at some point when the channel gets bigger and we do giveaways, I'll probably make some hats to give away so people can have a hat made by Bragi. I'm sure folk would love a Viking hat made by me. I just love making them. It's like Anglo Saxon toilet sets. I've probably made a couple of hundred sets of them over the years, just because they're fun to make. And I've actually I got all in here my bits. This is my Anglo Saxon toilet set kit. So this is all full of bits to make toilet sets. And you'd be asking, what's a toilet set? Well, this is a toilet set. Actually, that's the first one I ever made back in about 2001. And these are just all the bits. I can make them. I can sit around the campfire with my little tools and make Anglo-Saxon toilet sets. They're just for cleaning your nails. But I've got a really nice one here. This is my favourite one, made of silver. And these would have been used to pull out splints from your hands, your tweezers, your hairs from your ears. You'd have a little scraper. This is for doing your inside your ears. And with it being silver, it's also quite antiseptic and clean. The Vikings were very tidy people. We often think about them being mucky and dirty. They're not. They were very clean. And they took a lot of pride in their appearance. When you have a little tool there, a point, that's for doing your nails. And this also has a little modern thing, a little file, so I can do my nails on camp. It's often something I like to do, to sit around on camera, or on the live stream, or on the camp around a fire, just cleaning my nails. And, because the Vikings would have done that. It was vastly important to them to be clean. And let's face it, if you're eating with your hands, you haven't got a spoon in your bag, you want to be clean. And this is also another fascinating item I got, which is a grave find from Gotland. And on it, it has 2 strikers. It's got a little handmade knife. There's another striker. There's a little handmade spear. And a ring. Although I really love to get that ring off, but I can't. So, let's go back to the comments. And perhaps I'll talk about that in a video. I can't remember who made it for me now. But it's definitely, if I recall, it's a lady's find from a grave from Gotland. And Gotland's such an amazing place for Viking finds. It truly is. So let's look at these comments. So Tecto Sagas in a comment, and welcome to the 7th viewer. Was hail, good health. Don't forget the Chinese explorers who beat Columbus too. Really trying to remember the book title. Well, yes, there's about New Zealand. There was speculation that they found an old Chinese boat, which is meant to be dated thousands of years ago. So that was also very interesting. So hello to Louise Uhtred. Uhtred, son of Uhtred. I am Bragi, son of Magnar. Go back to some of these comments. And Jarl Kuldorf, is it possible that Brendan, the navigator, Irish monk, reached America around 500 AD or so, or at least Iceland or Greenland? Well, I think the Irish monks had a habit of just jumping into boats and seeing where they're going to end up. And certainly they ended up in Iceland before the Vikings found Iceland. And I wouldn't be surprised if they could get to Iceland, they can get to Greenland. And if they can get to Greenland, then in theory they can get to North America. Though there's no evidence for that yet. Whether we'll find any, it's going to be interesting to see in the future. Whether we're going to find any evidence of Irish priests being in America in that period, of the migrational period. I wouldn't be surprised, because the Irish monks did like to just jump into a boat and see where they end up and then Christianise the community, or just make a church. So it does make sense. And I'll definitely put Brendan the Navigator down in our book of content. We'll make a video on him. We've got quite a few characters I'm going to make videos on. If anybody is famous in the Dark Ages, we'll make a video on him sooner or later. It's just going to take a long time. I'm kind of dreading this Hoard series I've started, because I kind of think it's going to take like 20 years to cover 2,000 Hoards. And how many Hoards are they going to find in between now and then? So, but I am determined to cover as many Hoards as I can. And I've been making some notes today on a new Hoard to talk about, which is a early Viking Hoard. So let's go back to the comments. I do love reading your comments in these videos, and it's something I'm always going to do on this channel. I'll always find the time to read your comments, even when we have 10,000 subs or 100,000 subs, because I think it's very important that you keep your relationship with your viewers and your subs best you can. And you know, let's face it, if you're subscribed on a channel, you'd love to have your comment read out. So Thomas Dale in a comment says, that sounds like an interesting book. I think there was a book about the Scots also making it across the Atlantic as well. There was a book on it, but I have not seen it for years. Well, in the series The Curse of Oak Island, they talk about this and the Scottish Knight Templars travelling to America in the 13th century, which is alone fascinating. So Jarl Kildorf in a comment says these words: there's a lot of references to people from Western Europe reaching locations in the Atlantic in the medieval period. Yes, there definitely is. And then Lewis Ultrid in a comment says the words: what can you say about the commercial life of Vikings, with who they trade and what they traded? Well, the Vikings were fairly keen on trading silver as well as slaves, something in modern society we would condone, but still surprisingly goes on, even in the city of Derby, where I come from, or Northworthy, as you know it in the Anglo Saxon tongue. And they would certainly have dealt and traded a lot of amber and beads. They would have traded and jet. So these were very important things. But I do have some amber and jet. Give me a second, I'll dig it out. Here we go. So this is the type of thing they was trading. They would have traded amber. That's a raw bit of amber. That's another bit of bolted amber. And then they would have traded jet. Every Viking should have some jet and some amber to talk about and to demonstrate to the public, because it's very important. We don't think about the Vikings being traders, but they were. They was fatally into trade, and they were fatally into making money. You know, you only got to think about the Dangold and how much they loved silver, and the fact that they wore so much silver and so much has been found. I mean, you think about all the Viking hoards and been found over the years, from spectacular brooches to, you know, your typical bracelets. It's just awe-inspiring stuff. And the network they would have traded was a vast network. They would have gone down the rivers in Eastern Europe and gone to Istanbul. They even would have gone to Baghdad. So they travelled a long way. Istanbul. Wait a minute, just put my sound on. Wait a minute. Don't want to do that. Here we go. Back again. So it is amazing how much they travelled, and we don't often think about Vikings being commercial, but they were commercial. You know, when they looked to raid, they weren't just going to take the gold and the goods. They were looking to, you know, settle the land. So it is a fascinating subject in itself, and something we'll no doubt talk about. I'll have to try to find my Viking scales I've got, and we can talk about trade and how they traded and the commodities they traded in. So let's have a look at some more comments. So Thomas Dale says, hello, Lewis Ultrid. Then, of course, Lewis Ultrid in the comments said hello, so hello. Teto Sagas, 1421, the year China discovered America, by Gavin Menzies. Very good read. They found the remains of the fleet, etc. I think they found some Chinese boats on the eastern coast of North America. This is a controversial subject in itself. But I think the Salish nation, they talk about foreign people travelling to their lands. So a lot of these tribes, like the Salish, have a lot of these legends which are left behind, but some of these legends have to be based on something. And the Salish are a very interesting tribe to read about, and their folklore and folk stories is fascinating. I might do for one of the channel subscriber milestones, tell one of my favourite folktales ever. There's a folktale about a snake called Shishigura from the Mi'kmaq tribe. Although that is not something I really want to get heavily into on this channel, but it's just one of my favourite folk tales I've ever told, and I've told it probably the most out of all the folk. But I won't be doing that on the channel a lot. It'll just be for a subscriber milestone. So let's just go back to some of the comments. Thomas Dale, look out for that book up. Oh yeah, I've been looking at a book today on Edward the Older, because it talks about some of the northern hoards in it. And anything that talks about hoarding in the Viking Age, I'm interested in. The other day I bought a book on Harold, although I realised I've already got it. But I don't have the first edition, and I bought the first edition for £2 bargain. So if you want to book Thomas on Edward the Older, Harold, I mean, the last Anglo Saxon king, I have a spare one. I don't need. So, comment here from Tetto Sagas. One of the problems with the Celtic journeys is that they often followed much earlier formats. Many different allegorical countries mentioned along the way. Not impossible though. And in another comment from Tetto Sagas, straight after this one of the emperors said, "Bring me animals and stuff." Do they built huge ships, and off they went. Being a Chinese adventure, all well documented. Well, the Chinese documented things very efficiently, and they invented so much things like gunpowder. So we do have a lot to the Chinese. Very clever people. And yeah, something we don't talk about enough, that the Chinese did travel. But probably, I often think about this. Well, who were the most travelled people on the planet? Some people say, well, the Vikings were the most well-travelled. But I don't think that's true. I'll probably say the Polynesians were the most well-travelled people. Because, how they could travel 3,000 miles over ocean and find Easter Island, it just amazes me. And that is an amazing place in itself. If you're getting bored of the music, let me know. I can turn it off with my sword. I'm doing that with the hi-fi. So what else are we going to talk about? Any more comments? Do you want to talk about the new camera? I can get that out and show you the new camera. Now this is the original camera we used on the channel. So if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, you shouldn't let the fact that you may not have a good enough camera put you off, because you've got to start somewhere. And we started off on a Samsung S2. This is a great camera to start off with, although it did have some problems. One of the problems this camera had was it had a focus error, where it just kept on trying to refocus every few minutes. You'll often see that in the earlier videos. So that did us quite well. After this camera we went and was very kindly lent by a man called Anthony, the one I'm live streaming on, which is a Samsung S6. Another excellent camera. Well, I can't really tell you the name of the music. It's just a there's a guy on YouTube who plays a lyre. I'll try to put it in the video on that afterwards and find it for you. And what I just did, I just looped some music and just kind of made my own track out of it. But he's a man with a beard, and he plays the Anglo Saxon brilliantly, and his content is Creative Commons, so that basically means that I can reuse it. Although what I should do is actually link it to in my channel description, but I'm terrible at doing that. There's just too many things to do. So you're going to sleep then, Tetto Sagas. Well, have a good night, get some good sleep, my friend, and no doubt we'll be talking on another live stream soon. Good night, Tetto. Yeah, I'll link it afterwards in a comment in the video, and I'll pin it so you can find the video where I got this from. It's a bit repetitive now, but it just plays for 3.5 minutes and restarts again on my iTunes. It's very difficult to find authentic music for this period, which is Creative Commons, and you can reuse. Although one of the things I do want to get is a lyre. I do want to buy one at some point, so I've been looking on Etsy. Let's read some more comments. So Thomas Dale says, good night, Tetto. Oh, good night. Good night. And Tetto Sagas says, cheers everyone. Sleep well. I do hope to sleep tonight. Last night I didn't sleep very well at all. I sometimes have very bad insomnia. Makes you think, the Vikings would have carried on with insomnia. It drives me mad, and must have driven them mad as well. Or perhaps they slept better because they were drinking more. Thinking about drink, let's have a nice bit of water. This is actually a medieval mug from the 13th century. And I think the guy who manufactured these were very cheap. It's about £10. You're considering what? Probably half an hour's work in that to make it, and a couple of hours in a furnace. Hoping it will come out unbroken. But they are very nice mugs, these. And I bought a few of these over the years. But it is a bit later for the Viking age. This is more the middle of the medieval times. But some days when you're on camera, you just want a drink all the time, especially you're live streaming and you're talking all the time. You do get very dry. So I'll just talk about the new camera because it's very important. And we now have on the channel, it's not used yet, a new camera. And I'll get it out and show it on the live stream for the very first time. And this is a professional camera. So most professional YouTubers will be using a camera like this. I want to be very careful with it. This is what we'll be filming with in the future. This is a Panasonic Lumix G80. This is a 4K camera, so our content is now going to go into 4K for most of the videos. I'm not sure if I'm going to film the longer videos in 4K, simply because it's going to be massive file sizes, and therefore it's going to take a long time to render and upload. So I've got to test that. I might just do the longer videos if I film it on this camera in the standard HD format, but this is a 4K camera. I'm really looking forward to using this. I've also bought a new mic, so we've got an overhead shotgun mic, so the voice quality will also improve, but also when we're filming outside there should be less background noise and less wind noise. It's also something I've always wanted to do. So I have invested, you know, this is a very expensive camera, you know, you pay over $1,000 for that alone, just for a standard lens and the body. And I've got an extra special lens on this which costs more than a camera. So I have invested very recently on the channel. It kind of shows you how dedicated I am to this channel. That I'm quite prepared to spend my hard-earned money on a camera. So I'm really looking forward to using this. So one of the things you're going to have to come along, Thomas, and figure out how to use it for us when we do some filming for us. I also bought a new tripod because I didn't really want to use a tripod, which is a cheap tripod, or an older tripod. So I've actually spent £150 on a new tripod, which is about, what, $220. So we've also got a new tripod, which would also reduce any vibrations or any focusing problems. So yeah, we have invested. I'm really looking forward to using this new camera on the channel. I've got no idea I'm going to use this for live streaming. In theory, I can use OBS Studio or possibly Audacity, another free program, and live stream through the camera, which will also mean we can do longer live streams. Because you can now live stream for up to 12 hours on YouTube and have the video save on YouTube. A lot of people may do longer live streams but have to do it out of YouTube and then download it to YouTube, which is a bit of a long and boring job. So just bear with me whilst I put my camera away very carefully. I'm really looking forward to seeing the vast improvement to the quality on the channel. Because although using a mobile phone is great, and a lot of people do use mobile phones for professional YouTube channels, it's just not good enough for me. And I'm actually a photographer by trade because I did that at school. It was my best subject, photography. But I never thought I'd be doing this standing in front of a camera, in this case sitting down and talking about Vikings. It's funny what you end up doing. So that's a new camera. I'm really looking forward to seeing the quality. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys think. And thank you very much, Thomas, for your offer to help us out. Thomas is going to be a kind of a guest host on the channel as he runs the blog for us now. So let's talk about Viking hats and the different styles of hats. You've always seen me wear different hats. And I do have quite a few, but I've got a whole bag's worth here. As well as this one on the floor. This is like a typical Viking hat, a very simple pattern to make. You can make one of them in a couple of hours. I'll put it on the head, demonstrate it for you. It's a bit hot today to wear a hat. And I have a couple of hats I'm not finished. There's a hat I made recently. I've got to just finish the bottom off. I'm going to have some fur around this one. I have a fur lined hat. It's going to be very nice. There's another hat I made. These were actually a pair of trousers of turkeys, and they were just too thin around the knees, so I decided that we could use it for the material. So at some point I'm going to have to give them a hat. Another hat made from the same bit of material. This is like a burqa style Viking hat. And quite ironically, I got a 1066 Norman the Conqueror brooch on it. It's got the William the Conqueror coin. It's been manufactured into a brooch. I like that hat. I might do some more decoration around the edges on these at some point, because often when you sew something, let's say Thomas, you're sewing a cloak. You sewed your cloak up, but sometimes down the line you may say, well, I might to embroider it with some animal motifs, or you may want to do some more fancy thread work down here to make it stand out a bit more. So your kit always develops, and it should do. You know, it shouldn't stay the same. It should develop over time, and as you get posher and more rich as a Viking, so should your kit. But I do like this cloak. It's very nice. So what's else in the bag of hats? Another burqa style inside out, and on this one I'm using a lady's brooch. It's an early Anglo Saxon brooch from the 6th century. Actually I do have a lot of this red material, but I've lost it in my house. I've got like 10 metres of it. I was intending to make a nice tunic out of it and some trousers and possibly another cloak. I can't have enough cloaks. I could do a video on cloaks on its own. I've got that many. So there's that hat. Very nice. I think if I get some nice tablet reeve, that will bring that out lovely. And I think a nice red hat with fur on it would be nice. So let's look at another hat. This is my first Viking hat I had. And it's basically very much similar to this design. It's actually based on the same pattern. So I based that hat on this hat. And this is my first Viking hat I ever got. It's getting a bit thin now in places. I've had this for nearly 20 years. It's got a nice bit of tablet weave on it, and whoever put the tablet weave on left a little bit of tuff at the end. I do like this hat, made out of some very nice Irish linen. It's a bit of a more peasanty hat, not so grand in the colours, but fine for the early Anglo-Saxon period. And then we have another Frisian type of hat with the point at the beginning. I made a couple of these. I've not made this one. Mine not worked out as brilliantly as this hat. I'm still trying to work out this peak, because it's not as good as that one. That was far neater. But I do like that style of hat. And these are very easy to make. And I will be doing some live streams where I'm going to demonstrate and make a hat. Because I think there's not enough people sewing this kind of kit together on YouTube. And there's nothing better I'd like than to teach somebody how to sew something, and have you sew a hat together for yourself, and also get the confidence and the ability to sew, because you will learn from one little project like this. You will learn a lot. You'll learn from your mistakes. So there's another type of burqa hat that used to belong to a very good friend of mine. Gave me that many years ago. I like this one. This is very much a very nice early Anglo-Saxon hat. I do like this hat. I often wear that one. Then we have my furry hat, which is my parents bought me this from China. I got no idea what it is. The fur could be cat, could be anything. But this is a nice hat for the period, for your Rus Viking impression. Not sure about the tail. I can imagine they might have left that on. But one thing about kit is it's quite diverse. You know, you'll get away with the 19th century, 17th century with that hat as well. So I don't know how many hats I got in here. Oh, there's another unfinished hat. That was made out of the same material, this cloak. So when I got this blanket, I've had this blanket for many years, and I decided that I was going to do something with it. And I had it laying on the floor for a few weeks, and I kept on looking at it, deciding, well, what do I want to make out of it? Do I want a big cloak, or do I want a small cloak? And I've already got quite a few big cloaks. And the thing with big cloaks is, well, they sometimes drag on the floor. That's not always a good thing. Not for your cloak. Nobody wants a muddy cloak. So I decided I wanted a small cloak, and I based this size on the other small cloak, and then I was lucky enough to have enough material for a hat and some leg bindings. There's another unfinished hat. This was made out of a pair of Union trousers from the American Civil War. I actually took these trousers out of a skip. Somebody threw them away because there was damage and they didn't bother to repair them. So me being kind of person who saw them in the skip, I thought, oh, I could probably use them. At the time I had a big chap in my regiment who needed some trousers, so they fit him nicely. And this is another favourite hat of mine. I've got a few of these on the go. I've never actually made one of these before. This is a hat made out of 4 segments and then put together. So you can't beat a decent hat. And the beautiful thing about this hat is it's got a very nice bone pin, which fastens and keeps it together. And I've had that hat for many, many years. And I'll probably have it for many years still. One of the things you often regret in this hobby is selling your kit or selling bits of your kit. And I certainly have sold things over the years, and you certainly do regret selling them. And then the other hat I made was this peak hat. I made that many years ago. I was kind of obsessed for a few months with making one of these hats. So I kind of studied the information. You often see like pictures of Odin or Thor with a hat like this, a conical hat. And not often we see reenactment. And this is lined with felt. But it's really unfinished. I've not really finished it yet. I think I'm going to get some nice braiding around there. Then we have a wool hat. I've actually bought this very recently, but it did come with a very nice silver brooch. And I bought a set of kit off eBay. The wool pattern's a bit later for this era, but it does keep your head warm. Oh, we have a comment here from Cheetah. Hello, haven't seen a live stream in a while. How's everyone doing? Well, we're doing good. Yes, I was looking at a live stream last Friday, but I was just too tired, Cheetah. I was a bit tired today. I did cancel it, but I decided that I had a kind of Red Bull and I was wide awake again. So the live stream is back on. So it's nice to see you here, Cheetah. And let's just go back to some of the comments I may have missed. And Thomas Dale says, oh, I'll be pleased to help out with it. Yeah, there will be occasions, Thomas, where I need a third person for the filming. So you'll be great if you're around. And Thomas Dell, you could do a sewing or tailoring live stream. Yeah, I'm going to work on that. It's something I've been thinking about quite a bit. I do have a hat ready to start sewing up. I'd have to dig out a wooden board to sew up from. I think that's going to be a very interesting episode, and we might do a few of them. But I do like sewing hats up, and when you're on camera, you want to look differently, and sometimes that hat can just make it look a little bit different in the thumbnail. So yeah, it's something I'm going to do. And if I can figure out a way to share a pattern on Pinterest, people can print out and then get some wool themselves. They can sew a hat with me. So that would be a cool idea. It's all going to happen in time. You just bear with us. So a comment here from Thomas Dale. Oh, that is a brilliant mug. It sure is. I do love a good drinking vessel. You can never have enough of them, really. Lovely. And just a comment from Cheetah. Hello, I haven't seen a live stream in a while. And he says, how we do? I think I read that already. And then Thomas Dell in a comment, cloaks are brilliant. And hello, Cheetah. Nice, you made it. Oh yes, and you're early today, so we're not going to like die on camera just after you join the conversation like last time. So we should be here for quite a bit longer. In theory, this camera should last for about 2.5 hours to 2 3/4. Anyway, a comment here from Jarla Kilda. I better go off to bed. Good night. Ah, good night. Good night. You take care. I should be in bed really. It's like past midnight now. Not so I've got to get up early. Well, I do. But it's just the way it goes. But I do want to take advantage of being able to live stream like this regularly on a Monday and a Wednesday and a Friday. I may not do 3 live streams in a week. That might be a bit too much for me. It's a lot of work, live streaming. But good nut, yeah, N-O-T-T-E, one of the ways of spelling good nut. I will try to pick up more of the language as I progress on the channel. It's quite a lot to get in your mind when you're trying to learn Anglo Saxon and Viking words, and you're trying to learn your content and your folk tales, and then you've got to think about editing your content. I'll just show you this chit eater. We now have a new camera. I don't know if you was here. So very soon, chit eater, we'll be filming in 4K, as I now have a Panasonic Lumix 8 G80. This is the top of the range camera for YouTube. So watch out for the new improved content. I'm really excited to use this. And as soon as I get a microphone in the post and a mounting for my new tripod, I'll be going out and testing it. So that's already ever spent. You're looking at a couple of $1,000 as I've invested. I've actually sold a camera I didn't need. That got me some of that, and so I had some money lying about. It had to be done at some point. I couldn't afford to not buy a new camera. The camera we're using is great. I'm not sure whether I'll be doing the long videos in 4K, because I imagine at 1 gig a minute, an hour video might take a long time to edit and render. So I might do long videos in just standard HD. But definitely the folk tales and the shorter videos and the shorter historical videos we can film in 4K. And we're also going to have a lot of wind reduction from the outside, so I think the sound will be much improved. And in fact I can either have Wi-Fi mics on us hidden if need be. I don't really need that, my voice is quite loud enough, but Egil tends to be a little bit quieter. And he's not quite got the habit or the understanding that you've got to elevate your voice. Not only for your subscribers, but also because YouTube picks up what you say and makes, subtitling for your videos. And if you're not precise and clear in your voice, then it makes it more difficult. And I don't fancy spending $5 a minute on my subtitling in the future. Because there's lots of videos that I'm just never going to subtitle, like the vlogs. It just take me too long. But I've been working on some of the other subtitles, and I know Thomas has been very kindly working on them as well. So thank you very much, Thomas. You've been a great help, and I can't express that enough. And at some point, Chit Eater, you'll see Thomas on camera. I'm going to get him on camera. Perhaps we'll have him in the vlog doing an interview, because we never had an interview by anybody else on the vlog. It's just either me questioning Egil or Egil questioning me. It'd be great to get a third person to ask us a load of questions, which I think you guys would really love to see. So it's all going to happen in time. There's just too much going on in my mind. I've got an overactive brain. I think it helps for stuff like this. It's very exciting, the content we're going to make. I'm very excited about the Hoard content. Covering all these famous hoards that have been found. Yeah, I do agree, 4K is the best resolution. That's a comment there from Chit Eater, and he also said before that, excellent. No, totally excellent, dude. It sure is. It's something I've been thinking about a long time, like from day one when I started this channel. One of the most massive worries I had was the camera quality. And although the content we made was okay, with the first camera, here's the first camera I used. I think I'm going to frame that one day. It deserves to be framed. And have some, like, the first camera used on Northworthy Sagas, and be shown some respect. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the new content. So just read the comment from Chit Eater. Definitely looking forward to seeing the new content. Oh yeah, I am too. I'm really looking forward to comparing the different versions and the different quality. But the camera we've been using has been great. So I'm very thankful for Anthony for lending the Samsung S6, which I'll probably still be using for the live stream for now. So it's going to take me a while to figure out how to live stream with the new digital camera. And a comment here from Thomas Dale, 4K stops infiltration from the Duck of Evil. It certainly does. Watch out for that Duck of Evil. Thomas, it's behind you now. I bet you looked round, didn't you? Yeah, one day we're going to be sent a stuffed duck in the post, and then we'll use it on camera. I do a video, Egil versus the Duck of Evil. I just have like a duck flying in the view of the camera. I'm thinking like that, it makes me hungry thinking about duck, because I do love roast duck, plum sauce. And a comment here from Thomas Dale, well, I could do that, like an interview with a vampire, but an interview with a Viking. Yeah. I mean, you could do it singular, you could interview me, or Egil on herself, or both of us. There's lots of options for that, and I think it's something the subscribers would like to see, because fundamentally, you're a subscriber coming on the channel and asking us questions. I think that's going to be great. But especially if you get your own channel going, we'll work on that for you. I'll give you any help I can. I'm more than happy to help, you know that. So, any questions? Do you have any questions, Eater? I'm always happy to read your questions. In fact, we were talking about you earlier, about how knowledgeable you are. I'm always happy to read your comments and read what knowledge you have on this period. It fascinates me that you know so much. So if you're ever in the UK, Eater, we'll get you on the channel as a guest. You've heard that here. I'm a man that keeps his words. Although it's a very long way to travel just to appear on camera. Oh, thinking about some questions, so comment there from Eater. Thinking about some questions I want to ask. Hold tight, I certainly will do. Hold on to the war chest weapons quick, fast. Hold fast. I love that saying. It's a good old naval saying. I cannot help but get my knife out there. Comment here from Eater. Have you seen season 3 of The Last Kingdom yet? And another comment from Eater. I just finished it and it was great. No, I haven't actually. It's one of the next things I'm going to watch. I'm actually just watching Star Trek Discovery. That's the current series I'm watching. And then I've got another series to watch, but I'm definitely going to try to watch The Last Kingdom season 3. And we are going to review each episode at some point when I can figure out how to do that with Egil. So just keep us in mind. I've got a couple more trailers I'm going to review from The Last Kingdom. I think I'm going to review soon the battle scenes, and we're going to talk about them as well. So perhaps we could figure out if we could find some Creative Commons footage from The Last Kingdom I could use. I could include some of that. Oh yeah, I mean, one of the scenes from season 2 was the scene I recall from. It was in a longhouse, and there was like a table. It was Uhtred longhouse, and there was like some 19th century drinking pewter mugs on it. And to me, I found that very disappointing when they could have just gone out and bought some nice, you know, bone jugs or wooden jugs or something like this. They could have had some of these instead of using 19th century tankards. But I am glad and I'm looking forward to watching how authentic the next season is going to be. Because I imagine Netflix are quite good on these things. Yeah, Cookham, yeah. You not remember the scene where you see inside the longhouse and you saw these tankards made out of pewter? Well, they're just very clearly 19th century tankards. Yeah, I mean, you'd have drinking horns. You know, you'd have a drinking horn. Here's my big one. I like this one. Hang on. Nah, that's what you call a drinking horn. That's a drinking horn. You get 4 pints in that. If I had 4 pints, then I'll put it in there. Well, the problem with a drinking horn like this is that you've got to drink it before you can put it down again. And then some bugger comes along and fills it up again. And then you've got to drink another 4 pints. And then somebody comes along again, fills it up again, and before you know it, you've had 3 of these and you're on the floor. Either that or doing some Viking dance. Now, I am your father. Yes, but that's the Hoard of Teak here. He left that round here when he last filmed, and he's not been back for it yet. So Teak here, if you're watching this, come back for your horn. If not, it's staying round here, mate. That's a good big horn, that. So let's read some of these comments. So Eater, I remember that as well. Yeah, I just thought that was a disappointing scene when they could have just simply got some authentic mugs But overall, it's a brilliant series. Barley! I remember that scene, because that guy who plays him was in lots of TV shows in the 1990s. I can't remember the name of the actor who plays the big chap who Uhtred killed in the village where he was first married, I think in the beginning of the second series. But that guy used to be in lots of shows in the 1990s in Britain. Another comment from Cheetah. Yeah, none of them had drinking horns, I remember. Yeah, they should do. I mean, it's just daft that they don't do that. When, you know, you could buy a drinking horn, or a lot smaller one, £20–30. Now, to a budget for a TV series, that's nothing. So, Thomas Dale, backswords. And Cheetah, honest steward. And Cheetah says, his name was Oswald. That's a good Saxon name, is Oswald. And Cheetah says, the character. Yes, I am looking forward to watching it. I'll have to try to get onto Netflix over the weekend and watch some of it. That is a massive horn, yes. I'd hate to meet the car that had this horn, because that is mighty big. And it's got a nice brass end piece with a kind of a dragon motif. Typical the Vikings would put some on the end. And typically they would have some kind of silver work up here, but this one's just engraved with some runes. And I can't remember what it says now. I think Nell did that for the old... Yeah, you're coming back with the horny old deed again when I misspelt it the other night. That's going to haunt me, that is. We'll have that on a t-shirt, Thomas. Yes, one day we'll see old Take Care come back and he can have his horn back. So a comment here from Cheetah. I also do not like how they have square shields in the Last Kingdom. A bit inaccurate, but nonetheless very enjoyable. Yes, well, you can understand why they had different shield designs to make it more easier to understand who are the Vikings and who are the Saxons. But personally, I would have done it with round shields and just had a big difference in the painting schemes. You know, I had the Vikings with more Viking-style shields and the Saxons with some of the more concave shields that they would have had. That would have been a much better thing to do rather than a rectangular shield, because that just made it too far big for my liking. And yet again, such a massive inaccuracy. I mean, the problem is that people are going to go around thinking now that the Saxons had rectangular wooden shields, when they did not. There's no way on earth they had shields like that. Now, fair enough, if you're like a Gaelic Viking, you know, a Beano Norse, then yeah, they had rectangular shields. They were known for it. But that's just them. The Saxons did not use any shields like that, and it's just completely stupid how they decided to have that in the series. Whoever came up with that decision wants to be fired. The problem is, they're not hired people like me, because I could have told them straight off that was a daft idea. And you know, the lack of helmets, or the helmets that all look similar, you know, helmets were vastly different. There wasn't some man making the same helmet every day. No, he'll be making every helmet will be slightly different for the customer, you know. So that's another problem with the show, when they had too much similar kit. Yeah, so that's another thing I saw in the season 2 trailer of the kite shields. Another massive inaccuracy when kite shields are much later, and also very highly effective, really. I don't know how the Normans possibly won Hastings when in battle reenactment Normans are so easy to kill. You know, it's just a matter of going like this, you know, bang, 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 bang down the line and they're dead. You know, there's 5 Normans you just killed. Hey ho, let's find some more. I used to love beating up Normans. I'm not beating up a Norman for a long time. I'm getting beaten up Norman withdrawal symptoms. Of course, the next combat video, I'm going to have to dress as a Norman. It's not good. As a Viking, that's not good. But I'll do it for the channel. I will dress as a Norman and have Egil beat me up. I've been painting the shields recently, so they got to be damaged again. So a comment here from Cheetah. I believe the Normans had better cavalry. I assume you mean cavalry, not a cavalry, because that's making me hungry again. Yeah, well, they did use cavalry far more than what the Vikings did. I mean, the Vikings weren't known at all for using cavalry. It doesn't make sense why would not use horse. They would use horse to go to battle and get on the horse and line up in the shield wall. But then again, you know, the fighting in the period was dominated by the shield wall. But trust the Normans to come up with a new thing. So Eater says, I eat Normans for breakfast. Alright, not a big Norman. Some of them are big. Get them battered Norman. And Thomas Dale in a comment says, Horn Owen Deed will join the saga like the Duck of Evil, the female lady teller, and the onion. The Whiffscott. I'm still working on finding a lady to tell tales on the channel. It's not being easy. I did ask her ex-girlfriend of mine, but I think she just ignored me. I think, why would you not want to dress up as a Viking and tell tales? They must be crazy. But one day we will find a lady teller host on the channel. There's bound to be somebody in Derby who likes Vikings and who's a lady. Thomas, you bound to know somebody. So a comment here from Cheetah. I like the repainting of the shield. It looks new and fresh. Oh, it does for now, although soon it will be beaten up again. And I started doing that shield as well, but I've got to get some green paint. In fact, some of the paint I use was the paint I used over 15 years ago when I painted my shield up last. So it's kept well. Although I do have another shield, this is completely white. So I might have like a challenge on the channel for people to come up with a shield design for us. So I think that would be cool. So if you've got an idea for a shield design, something we could talk about in the future, and then I could paint that shield up to that design. And Thomas Dale says, I fancy a shield as well. Well, if you get yourself a shield, boss, and we go around a few skips, we might find some nice wood for one, we can make you one. So Cheetah has a comment on a question for me. I have a question for you, Bragi. What year did the Vikings settle in Iceland? I don't know that off by heart. It was in the 9th century, wasn't it? This is a subject I've been thinking about recently, making a video on the Viking settling of Iceland. Something me and Egil have talked about. No, I couldn't tell you that without actually looking it up in my notes or in a book. The problem is, a lot of these dates, you have too many dates in your mind, and it takes a lot to remember everything. I shouldn't know that really. But it is a fascinating place, Iceland, and certainly the Viking culture it developed was so different to 874. Yeah, I knew it was round about that. So that always surprised me how much you know about this period, Cheetah. I find it fascinating you know so much. You're making the Vikings very proud with knowing all this knowledge. Yes, we have been asked a few times to talk about Iceland, so we will do. We have 1 or 2 people from Iceland watching our content now, including Olaf Einarsson. So hello to Olaf. I hope that's your name. You read so many names on the channel, you often get confused. So Cheetah says, I've been studying for quite a while. Well, you're still at school, aren't you, to a degree, studying, so you've probably got it more in mind. I've not done it some for years. And Cheetah says, in a comment, very fun to learn about Vikings and Norse mythology. Oh, it definitely is. You know, you can spend all your life, every spare minute reading. And I do have a vast collection of books on the subject, including some very rare books. But a lot of it's, you know, it takes a lot of time to read. And then you've got to remember everything. Which is why I'm tending to have more of a note form, keeping our notes for the videos now. But very slowly I'm building up a database of information so that we can basically, you talk about Iceland, I can get out a folder talking about Iceland and I'll have all the information in there. But it's just going to take me a long time to get it all together. But gradually as we do this research, we're learning more. It's amazing, I've probably forgotten more things than I actually know. But back in the day I knew a lot about this period. But going to the 19th century and having time away from reenactment, you forget things. So Thomas Dale says, call on the shield and finding some wood. Oh yeah. find some nice bit of plywood in a skip. You'd be surprised what you can find in skips. So a comment here from Cheetah. I think a cool video idea would be making a video on the Britons during the 9th century, as they get little spotlight in the Viking Age. Yes, I mean the late Anglo Saxon period and the Anglo Saxons in the Viking Age do get overlooked by the Vikings. So that's something we will talk about in a video, and a great idea. And Cheetah says, I believe the Britons were Christian before the Saxons. Certainly some of them were Christianised before the Saxons. Certainly within the Roman culture there was Christianity. So that would have remained after the Roman Empire left Britain. And then again, you have the Irish monks that like to travel. So in the early 4th and 5th and 6th century, a lot of monks were travelling to Britain to Christianise the people. I was thinking about this the other day because we did that video from Egil on From the Hammer to the Cross, which was quite a successful video. So I'm thinking about doing a follow-up video on Viking conversion in the future. Me and Egil will talk about that. Whether it be one of those videos we just do last minute and just do it, or whether it's one of those videos we do some research on. I'll probably try to do some research if I can. So in a comment here, Cheetah, but the Irish, I have to say, have been Christian the longest because of St. Patrick and all those travelling Irish monks. Well, indeed. But also, they also got rid of a lot of the pagan books from Ireland. A lot of information had been lost from the earlier days of Ireland. And it's a shame, really. It's a shame that the Irish monks and St. Patrick burnt a lot of these, these books. There would have been some fascinating information, and there are one or two good series on the history of Ireland I've seen in the last few years. So if I remember any of them, I'll link them in a comment. But yeah, I mean, the Irish monks got around to lots of places. They sure did. The Irish monks like to travel. Like I was speaking earlier about it, they had a habit of just jumping in a boat and just seeing where they end up, and then they'll just Christianise the community that was around them. I'm getting a bit hot now. And they was also fairly brave to do that with the early Irish monks. So a comment here from Cheetah. That is why not much people know much about the girls during the ancient age. No, and it's a shame that we lost that information. Because when you see something like the Book of Kells and some of these early books, they're just fascinating. So a comment here from Thomas Dale. Yeah, I think you're right about the Britons being Christian. They still had the Celtic church brought over by the Romans. Well, of course they did, yes. I mean, the Romans did a lot. I mean, I was thinking the other day, about the Romans, and I was thinking, well, back in the Viking Age, what would the road system would have been like? Because the Roman road system in Britain, there would have been a legacy they would have left behind, and we no doubt know that they were still used and to a degree maintained in the early medieval times. In fact, very close by to us here is an old medieval, well, it's an old prehistoric trackway, which was Romanised, and the Romans built a road on it. It's still there today. So I'm going to go there one day and film. So another comment here from Thomas Dale. While the Saxons may have converted to that, but mainly it was when St. Augustine came across in 597. Yes, another interesting individual we'll talk about at some point. Because one of the things I was often thinking at the beginning of this channel was the Anglo Saxon saints. And there's so little information about the saints, and there's so many saints out there. It's a whole big list of them. So at some point we will do some research on the saints. I'll train Thomas up on how we do our research, and perhaps you could do some research for us, Thomas. And like I said, if you ever come up with your own ideas for content, I'm more than happy to film you on the channel. I'm happy to have anybody on the channel. This channel is far more than me. So another comment from Cheetah. The Irish did have really good craftsmanship back in the Viking Age, despite their round huts and that they had a house back then. Well, if you look at the Ardagh chalice or the Derry Naflan chalice, both very early Christianised pieces of bowls. They're just fascinating, but it does show how clever the craftsmanship was back in the early Irish kingdom. These Irish Christian monks were very, very clever people, and you can certainly understand why the Saxons very highly sought after any piece of Anglo Saxon, any piece of Irish monk craftsmanship. I mean, especially religious items. And we saw that in the last kingdom when Uhtred brought that cross with the Jesus on it. You saw how excited that monk was when he saw that, and Uhtred had his debt paid off because of that. Even though he got screwed over in the first place by Alfred, but that shows you how clever Alfred was to a degree. And these people, the guy who plays Alfred in the Last Kingdom is such a great actor, and he's playing such a great part. Probably one of the best Alfreds I've seen. Oh, he does. So there are so many saints. I have a few books on the early saints, so I'm going to definitely look at that in the future, because I do think it's something on the internet that needs to be addressed. We need to talk about these saints, because if we don't start talking about them, they'll just be lost in time, and any information we can gather now will be lost. So something we're going to do on the channel in the future. So I comment here on Thomas Dale. The Irish were famed for their goldsmithing. Well, very soon I'll be making a video on the Derry Naflan chalice with Egil, and I also will be doing a video on the Ardagh chalice, and that will very clearly demonstrate how clever these people were, and I'll go quite into depth how they made these items. I mean, the Ardagh chalice, from memory, is made from 438 individual pieces. That alone is just mind-blowing. I mean, and the guy who manufactured that chalice, well, it wasn't the first one he made, because you don't just start being a goldsmith and making a chalice. You start with your smaller objects and you get better and better. So it kind of demonstrates that the guy who made that was such a high skilled workman, and I've been doing it for many, many years, no doubt, in my mind. And I wouldn't be surprised if he had a team of people working with him, and he would have been the head man, the head craftsman, and some of the work would have been passed down to the apprentices. Because as a goldsmith, you've got to learn your talent and your skill somewhere. You learn it as an apprentice, and you serve 10, 20 years as an apprentice, or however long it will take. Fascinating. Well, as a Viking, I really do respect Alfred. I'm not a massive person when it comes to being a royalist in the modern world. I certainly respect the Queen and the royal family. I wish they had less of the public's money, because they certainly got a lot of it themselves. But they don't compare to Alfred or the kings of the Viking age, do they? That's because we live in a modern world. But I do find Alfred is somebody I really do look up to and admire, and that says a lot for me. I'd love to go back and meet him. Probably one of the most powerful and important kings in Britain, no doubt, in England. And where would we be without him? Would England be the same? I don't think so. I think it would have took longer for England to be found as a country and to come together as one. I think the smaller nations would have continued warring. Wessex would have warred with Mercia and likewise, and Northumbria. So I think Alfred has a lot to be responsible for, and his legacy is just massive. And we take it for granted, really do. So we have a comment here from Cheetah. Alfred was very clever and was very well played by actor David Dawson. Yeah, it certainly was. And I'm not really familiar with David Dawson as an actor before this series. And Cheetah, one of my favourite kings in film history. There's a comment there from Cheetah. And we have a comment here from Thomas Dale. And we now have 6 people watching. Hello! And a 4th like on the live stream video. Thank you, Ross Hale. Good health. So a comment here from Thomas Dale. I would be very willing to be a researcher, I hope, in that way. Yeah, that'd be great. Because often the research is very daunting, especially when you've got so many video ideas. So we now have folders now, Cheetah, for our content ideas. I'll just show you one of these quickly. So you get the idea how professional we are going with this. I now have 4 of these folders on the go. This is my historical folder, as you will see some of my research. That's the research I've done on the Derry Nafland chalice. I could actually print these out, but I hate printers. You know that by now. So every one of these files in here is a video idea. Every one of them. And that's just a section there on hoards. Then you get your next section on individual characters you study developing. Another section on battles. Then another section on just miscellaneous historical content. So every one of these files is a video, and there's quite a few in that folder alone. So it does take a long time to do your research for this stuff, but it's worth doing it right. And we will get there. And we're going to have a lot of amazing content. I was looking today actually on Social Blade, and we have more content on this channel than History of Hilbert and also Survive the Jive. And one of them has over 100,000 subscribers. So that's amazing. So let me find my mouse where I dropped it a minute ago. Come back, mouse. There we go. And I will go and read some of these comments I've just seen. Give me a minute. So Thomas Dale in a comment says, Alfred was great. He was baptised in Constantinople by the Pope at the time. Well, was not in Rome. He was baptised. I'll have to think about that. It was in Rome. So another comment from Cheetah. I'm sure Cheetah knows that. Alfred had a dream which became Englander, which then became Great Britain, which then became the United Kingdom and the largest empire in the world, the entire world. It did indeed, yeah. I mean, what a legacy he had. So we have a comment here from somebody new on the channel, and it's Sinestro S. Good evening. Good evening to you, and welcome to the channel. It's very great to see you on here, and I always like to see new people leaving comments. And if you have any questions, Sinestro S, about Vikings or Anglo Saxons, please carry on, ask your questions. So another comment from Cheetah. Hello, hello. Thomas Dale says hello, Sinestro S. And then Sinestro S put a smiley face. And then Cheetah in a comment, that is very cool folder, packed with information. Never trust printers. I hate printers. Printers are the work of Loki to torment me in the modern world. You know. But those folders are quite recent. Beforehand I would have just had an inbox tray, but I needed to up the ante and organise how I figured out the content more better. It really has helped quite a bit, and we're getting more research done. This is going to be more accurate. And another comment from Sinestro S. Yay! And a comment here from Cheetah. Cheetah says these words. Yes, it was in Rome by Pope John VIII. Yes, I've been to Rome. A fascinating country and place to visit. A little bit expensive is Italy, but a lovely place. I mean, I've been all over Italy. And then a comment from Cheetah. Pope John VIII was the Pope from 872 to 882. Yeah, I've not really thought about covering the popes at this moment in time on the channel. Perhaps we should do at some point, because no doubt the popes in the Dark Ages had a big influence. So I think at some point we will cover that. Just have to bear with us. So Thomas Dale, sorry, my mistake. Well, that's one of the problems with content, is that you sometimes do make mistakes. We're only human. We can't know everything, you know. And alone with the Anglo Saxons, the Vikings, there's so much information to learn. It could take a lifetime to know it all. But you know, we're here for the long run. You know, we're not here for a year and disappear. We're going to be here. We're going to keep being here until I drop dead. Hopefully in a battle with a sword in my hand. Get a sword quick, or an axe. There we go. Let's go back to the comments. Thomas Dale, you're welcome, Sinestro. I do hope I'm pronouncing that right. And then Cheetah, it's fine. In a comment. And then a comment from Thomas Dale, who's from Derby. I've actually met Thomas for a beer in real life now. Down a pub called the Abbey, which dates from the 12th century. One of my local. It's currently closed, so they best open it soon. Because there the beer is cheap, like $3 a pint. Oh, bargain. And Thomas Dale, you're always welcome here and in a live stream. Well, yes, everybody's welcome on this channel. You know, you just become one of the family. We'll adopt you as a Viking. And then Sinestro S says, you guys are cool. What did the Vikings believe about the Northern Lights? Well, it does make you think what I would have thought about the Northern Lights. It's not something we ever see in the UK, so it's something I never witnessed myself. But they must have thought about it being something magical about it, because you think about it, it is kind of magical. And how would you explain it as a Viking? You'll find it very difficult to explain it. So perhaps they might say, well, it's the work of the gods. It's Loki. So you could, if I easily understand that, they might have translated it in that kind of manner, that it's the work of the gods. You know, it's when Odin goes over in his chariot. So we'll see on that. Well, that's a rather rude comment. I might be reading that one out. Dakota, all good. And welcome to the channel. Oh, a Viking. You don't want to go around upsetting Vikings. Oh, you just moderated your first message. Oh, well done. If you have a normal question to ask Dakota, all good, I'm more than happy to answer it. So Thomas Dale, in a comment, I'm a little unsure myself. Bragi and also Egil might know more about it. It would be a good topic for a video. I would have thought they were a sight. Oh, they would have been. And a comment here from Cheetah. You're welcome, Bragi. Oh, thank you very much, Cheetah. And then a comment here from Dakota. All good. Do like Thanksgiving. Well, we did do a Happy 4th of July video for our American fans when 4th of July was around. We're not really talking about doing a Thanksgiving video. I was very close to making a video on Armistice Day the other day, you know, but it's not really in our period. It's World War One. So, even though Egil does know a lot about both World War One and World War Two. Yeah, so I can see you being banned on this channel, Dakota Allgood, with your comments like that. Magic. Well, I never pulled magic from my arse before. Arseling. Put me other wax. I can hang it around my neck. Yeah, we are a family-friendly content channel, so please don't swear on the channel, even though those swear words are invented by the Saxons. One more, you'd be banned. Now, I'm not really into banning people. I do believe in freedom of speech, but I don't really want to see people swearing on the channel. It's not something good, and luckily we do have very good moderators in the form of Cheetah and Thomas Dale. So thank you, guys. I'm going to put you in timeout. I can put him in timeout where you can't leave any comments now. You're in timeout. That's the first person ever to be put in timeout. You're now a legend on the channel now. We're being in timeout for 300 seconds. That's not very long though, is it? Yes, it's not something we've ever had on the channel, it's spam. I once had a very nasty comment on my gaming channel. Made me laugh more than anything else. Luckily, I'm very thick-skinned. I'm a Viking. I know a lot about insults. Yes, there's lots of things you can do when people leave comments you don't want on the channel. You can ban them. You can put them in timeout. Just be appropriate, and that's no problem. So, any more comments? Any more questions? I don't know what time it is in the morning. Oh, you want to look at my Coppergate helmet? Oh yes, this is the one I brought up. Take care, Thorco. $1,000 for this, simply because of who manufactured it. A man called Ivor Lawton, who is very well known for making helmets for the British Museum, including the Sutton Hoo helmet, which he made for about £20,000, I believe. And this is one of the, this is either the second or the third one he made. So it's a very accurate copy. In fact, if you got the Coppergate book and you study the book and you study the helmet, you won't find anything as good as this on the internet for sale, which is not going to cost you thousands of pounds. And it's just a spectacular piece of kit. But I was polishing it the other day. I do like to polish the brass work. I try not to polish it too much because it's plated. You don't want to rub off the plate too much. It's getting heavy as well. It's a very heavy helmet, but it's also a very nice helmet to wear. I used to wear this in battle now and again, but it's a king's helmet. I'm not a king, so it's very rich. And of course you've got the motives of the beast at the front, and then you've got the motive of the beast at the side. Oh, Celtic God has joined us finally on lunch. Mind if I join you for a bit? Celtic, you're more than welcome. And at some point I really must make you an admin on the channel. I keep meaning to do that. I've got a couple of people to promote to admins, because at this stage of the channel, we're very early. You know, this is the magical age of a channel where it's very fresh. Because at some point we are going to be quite big, I imagine. I'm never going to forget you guys who was there at the beginning, because you know you guys have really helped to make this channel. And we wouldn't be here without you. And it wasn't for you subscribers and the lovely comment, I might have packed this channel up at the beginning of the year and deleted it. I'm glad I didn't, because I really did think about it when Take here decided to leave by sending me a text at 1:30 in the morning, most appropriately, you know, without even explaining why. So I was very close to deleting this channel and packing it up, but I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I'm still around, and it's just been a fantastic journey, and the journey is just getting better and better. So let's go back to some of the comments here. Is it 1:30 in the morning? So I'm not sure how long this live stream is going to carry on for, because we may get to the stage around about 2 o'clock, 1:45, where it might die on us, because it's just a matter of the battery life on the mobile phone. But we keep going until then. So let's try to go back to some of these comments. Yes, on the Coppergate helmet, it does have chainmail on the back. It's an 8mm chainmail. Very polished, this chainmail. Originally it probably would have been riveted. That isn't riveted, just buttered mail. But I mean, I paid about £1,000 for that from Take here. And I was very close to buying this Vendel helmet, but I kind of regret not doing that now, because it would have been great to have a Vendel helmet. But I imagine at some point when the channel is successful, and I will sort Take care out with money for the videos and content he made, because I'm that kind of person. I'm not a kind of person to rip people off. I'm a fair person. If somebody's helped me in the past, I'll help them back. So at some point, I imagine when Take care gets some money out of the channel, he will come back, because he will probably realise he was onto a good thing. But it would be great to get Take care back, because he has so much knowledge, and especially on the Vendel era. His knowledge on the early Saxon era and the Vendel era is second to none. It truly is. And one of the biggest problems I had with Take care was that he would never do any content like I wanted him to do. I kept saying, well, make some videos on authentic, you know, Viking subjects, but he wouldn't do it. He just wanted to do the subject he wanted to do, which was fine. But as a channel, it was very difficult. I mean, I got the opposite problem with Egil. Egil's up for doing anything. We saw that in Techno Egil Viking. If the man's willing to dance on camera, then you know he's willing to do anything else. So in that aspect, it's great. But the problem with Egil and the problem with Take here is that Take here doesn't like Egil because of their past, and it's very, very sad. That, you know, I wish I could just get both their heads and bang them together and make them see sense, because they both used to be very, very good friends for many, many years, and they just fell apart. And I always think it's very sad in life that people do that, especially when they was good friends like they were for many years. But you know, that's something we don't really talk about on the channel. You know, it's all about the past. You know, I'm just focusing on the future, on the present. But it's great that Egil decided to come on the channel, because another reason why I might have not continue with the channel was because I was on my own. I didn't want the channel to be about me. The channel is far bigger than myself, you know, and I think you guys realise that. The channel is far bigger than me. Far bigger than one individual. Let's go back, look at the comments. Thomas Dale says, hello Celtic God, always great to see you on the channel, and I'm hoping to get a microphone this week, so I'll try to figure out the Google Hangout things, and then I can join your Hangouts, Celtic, and we can talk about paganism and the modern world and stuff. Even though I'm a shaman basically, but I've still got my point of view. So a comment here from Celtic God, you would have to beat me in a duel to get me to dance on camera. Well, I'm willing to fight you in a duel to get you to dance on camera. It might be fun. It might be stronger than me. It's not always about the stronger man, because I do know a lot about this, and I can't tell you why, for various reasons. But sometimes it's always the smaller man can surprise you. It's not always the strong man can win the battle. And I have met many a strong man. I remember once in a battle reenactment, I once saw a man pick up a horse and a cavalry man. But the man was very big. Very strong. Pick up a horse. So some comments here. Thomas Dale, Celtic God, we keep missing you. We'll have to do a video first thing in the morning here, so it's suitable for you to catch. What, you're trying to get me out of bed early? I don't get enough sleep as it is. And a comment here from Celtic God, laughed out loud. I cheat, as I'm sure you do too, but there's cheating in a fight. Well, there's clean fighting and there's dirty fighting, but some days dirty fighting will get you the advantage and make you win the fight. That'd be good though. I'm always happy to fight and teach people to fight using a sword or whatnot, or spear. But then again, there's fighting for the sake of fighting. I mean, we do it to demonstrate and teach the public. We don't actually go out there to beat each other up. I mean, some of these Eastern Europeans might do that, because they are a bit more brutal than us. Oh yeah, it was a very big man. There was two of them. There was a man called Thumper and a man called Bambi, and they were both like over 7 foot. So they were very large fellas, you know, and they would often drink like 4 pints of beer at a time in a big jug because they were so big. And I literally I saw them in a battle push over a whole column of men as well. And I did some English war reenacting. The only time I ever did English war reenacting, many years ago, in I think the late 90s. I didn't really like English Civil War. It was a bit too brutal. You know, too many people getting broken bones and legs. I mean, in combat you've got to be safe, you know. We are using dangerous weaponry, you know. That's a dangerous weapon if you don't use it correctly. I could break your bone very easily. So, some comments here. Celtic God, it's fun. And a comment here from Cheetah. Wow, that man lifted a horse that weighed 840 to 2,000 pounds. Well, he was a very big man and very strong. I don't even know they're around no more. They were legends back in the day. And another comment here from Celtic God. I have not one down, Cheetah. Cool. Makes me think of cow tipping when they sleep and you tip them over. Was that a myth in modern world? I don't know. Thomas Dale in a comment. I got bitten by a horse once as a kid. Ouch. My dad got kicked by a donkey once. But it hit his camera, not him. And a comment here from Celtic God. Never tried lift one though. Laughed out loud. Yeah, well, if you can get underneath the horse, get it on your back and control the back legs and the front legs, you could about do it if you're very, very strong enough and you've got a decent strong back. I don't think I could do it. I got a bad back. I got hit by a juggernaut lorry many years ago. And never been the same since. And I don't think running around in chain mails really help. Yes, a lot of those Victorians have got a lot to answer for, calling it chainmail and horned helmets, and giving us strazy images. Oh look, we've got a thumbs down in the video. Yeah, that'll be that guy from earlier. But never mind, that's interaction. I don't mind that. If that's all you can do is leave a thumbs down and leave some bad comments, then he's definitely not going to Valhalla. That is not being a Viking. Yes, it was a juggernaut lorry. I was driving the company van and it hit me. It was a foreign driver, so it was blinded on the right side. And luckily the van I was in didn't knock over, but I had very severe whiplash. I know a lot of people say, well, whiplash isn't a bad thing, doesn't hurt, but I was in so much pain. I think what did it was I went to work the next day thinking I was alright, and when I clearly wasn't. And then after that I was off work for like 3 or 4 months on full pay because the company was liable. But at that point I thought I'd never walk again. That was many years ago now, but thankfully I'm alright now. A juggernaut lorry is just a massive lorry, we just call them juggernauts. Although in America your lorries are much longer with more trailers. It's just like a lorry with a single trailer. Red lorry, yellow lorry. Yeah, a truck. He was a German as well, German driver. I think his name was Hans. He was a very nice bloke, I didn't really blame him. Yeah, he was blinded on his right side because he was left-hand driven. It happened. It could have been a lot worse. I'm still here. I'm here to tell you these tales and do live streams. So let's just carry on. We've not died yet. I'll grab some more drink. I'm actually drinking beer. No Viking would drink water. So a comment here from Sinestro S. Thank you so much. I think they must enjoy the Northern Lights very much. And hi Celtic God, and thanks for recommending this channel. Yes, well thank you very much Celtic God for recommending the channel and talking about us. You're always welcome to play our content in your hangouts, and let us know if you do. I'll come and hang out with you and we can talk about folk tales and the fascinating aspects of them. I mean, as I tell and learn more folk tales, I'm learning more, and I certainly have a nice library now of folk tale books. There's just so much to learn from. I've just got to hope that Article 13 doesn't start affecting channels like this one in the future. I don't think our channel will be too affected, but you don't know with Article 13, and it's a bit strange when Britain's leaving the EU how it could still affect us, but it probably will do. But I think it's going to have a massive effect if it does get in on YouTube. So I think YouTube are going to dramatically, cover their backside, as you could say, by making sure that copyrighted content isn't out there. And a comment here from Celtic God. Did some show up, I hope? Oh yes, I find folk tales very important. Yeah, well, one of the first aspects of this channel was to have this massive database of folk tales. And that was the main idea of the channel. And for me it was more about the legacy I was leaving behind. Because you think about your life, you think what you've done, and you think, well, I've done lots of things, but what am I leaving behind? What will be my legacy? So to me, these folk tales are my legacy. And it's a legacy for the people of the planet. Because if we don't tell these folk tales, they're just going to end up in old books. And how many people read books these days? So that was why I decided to do this channel. And since then we've progressed, and I'm very happy that we have done so. So another commentator from Celtic God. Seems Britain may be leaving the EU in name only. Yeah, I voted to leave actually, because I thought the European Union was a massive corrupt organisation that couldn't even structure and organise itself. In fact, they had an internal report on the EU saying that, I think there's like a massive amount of, misspending, and fraud going on. So I'm very glad that we are leaving the EU, and I got really fed up with people in the UK selling the UK down. I mean, we make amazing things in Britain, and we have the rest of the world to trade with, and we're concentrating on 15% of our trade with the EU. It's ridiculous. I mean, not when you've got the rest of the world and the Commonwealth to deal with. Although I do believe, you know, in a kind of a Star Trek universe where we come together as one, but not in the manner of the European Union. I also hate being dictated to. So let's just go back to being Vikings again, and hey ho, and go into space. Space Vikings. Yes. Yeah, go back. Yes. So a comment here from Thomas Dale. Sinistra, I gather they must have seen more of the Northern Lights than us in England, and I presume they would have enjoyed them a lot. Yeah, the horse bite was more surprising than anything. Well, I'd imagine so. They've got very big teeth as well, horses. I'm not sure how strong the bite is, but it's got some strength to it. But thankfully horses don't go around eating people, because that would be a different world. So a comment here from Celtic God. Where I'm from, the Northern Lights are bright enough to see at certain times of the year. Yeah, we don't really get them over here. We're too far south down in England. Occasionally, they may get them in Scotland under the right circumstances, but it's not something I've ever really seen in life. One day. So a comment here from Thomas Dale. Cool, we barely get them here. I don't remember ever seeing the Northern Lights. No, same here. And a comment from Cheetah. Yeah, the EU is a meme. I hope Denmark leaves because I plan to live there sometime in the future. Well, if you ever do go and live in Denmark, we'll have to come and visit you and drink lots of Danish beer. So do like a Danish lager. And a comment here from Sinistral S. There is an Aura app that will alert you if it's active. Oh, I wasn't aware of that, so I'll have to look into that. And a comment here from Celtic God explains why we get snow and you don't get so further down south. Well, it does. And I think one of the modern things in the world that's going to happen in the future is space weather is going to be more prominent on the news, simply because space weather affects us. And especially at a worrying time when we have a minimum sun activity, it kind of points to the fact that we could be heading for a new mini ice age. But what we're going to get with the climate change and a mini ice age could be very interesting. And Cheetah says, I'm mead in a comment. Oh yes, I'll bring some mead over. I'll bring a bottle of the 40-year-old mead I got in storage. A very rare occasion we get that out. I would get Egil drunk on camera because Egil is 10 times more funnier when he's drunk. In fact, I've been in pubs when I've been in hysterics. I'm literally on the floor laughing so hard at Egil because he's so funny when he's drunk. But then we are a family-friendly channel. But I have thought about in the future, when the channel is bigger, I might start a secondary channel which is going to be an adult channel where we can swear on the channel and talk about more things which are more political, I guess. But I don't know about that. I'd only do that if you guys wanted to see a more adult appropriate channel. But it would be good to swear on camera. Bollocks, there you go. That's an old word. Thomas Dale says these words. That's cool on the Aura app. Yes, we get the Gulf Stream, which warms us up a bit. We'd be as cold as Scandinavia without it. We still get snow for a little while, a couple of weeks to a month. But we don't really get snow in Derby, do we though? It seems like everybody else gets snow and we just get like a little bit of it, like half an inch. But then the whole country just grinds to a halt when you get like 1 inch of snow. Because we can't deal with it. We're not used to it like we used to be. Ah, and Celtic God says these. You can swear on mine, channel Bragi. Oh, right, brilliant. I remember that. I can swear like a troop on a good day. But they do say though that swearing is very highly interlinked with intelligent people. Well, that could be a misconception, I don't know. I don't know how long this live stream is going to go for because we're just basically going to go until the camera dies. That's my philosophy when live streaming. But it's not too late yet. So comment here from Thomas Dale. There's an episode of metal apocalypse with space Vikings in. It's when they make their own film. Oh right. I was thinking the other day, has Doctor Who ever been back to the Viking times? I was thinking that. I'm sure Tetto Sagas would know, because I think he's a Doctor Who fan. And are you liking the new Doctor Who series? I know I've seen quite a few comments really slating the new series, but I'm quite enjoying it. So a comment from Celtic God, depends on how and when you swear, laugh my ass off. I've seen that what it says. IMO. Comment first from Cheetah. Unfortunately where I live we don't get snow nor rain, to be honest. But it has been a very dry season in the UK. But we do get a lot of rain. We're often very well known for rain. Not as much as Ireland. They get more than us. And I always recommend, if you ever get to visit Ireland, definitely go and do it. It's a fabulous country. And the people there are just marvellous. So friendly, they really are. And if you can sing a song, even better, because they love people who sing the Irish. You'll get free Guinness. Now, as a comment here from Thomas Dale, I think there were plans to do a blooper video, behind the scenes video. Yeah, well now we've got a second camera, so I can do behind the scenes with this camera and film with the new camera. You will be seeing some behind the scenes stuff. And I think we'll do some videos where I'll have Egil talking in the background, and we'll just do some mistakes for the vlog. I think it's going to be good, that. Because people like to see that kind of stuff. And Thomas Dale says in a comment, that's a very cool thing, Sinastral, about you seeing the Northern Lights, because I'm very jealous. I've never seen them in my life. I don't think I have. I've never been to Scandinavia, so it's always a mission to go there one day. I think Turkey went to Scandinavia with his dad once, and he fell out with his dad, and they both went on separate visits of Scandinavia. Turkey has got some funny stories. And a comment here from Thomas Dale, a Celtic god. Yeah, swear words exist, so they should be used, but they have to be used in a proper context, I think. Yes, there's a right time to swear and a wrong time to swear, but I think certainly having a second channel where we could swear on would be a good way to go in the future. Perhaps that could be the channel we do the gaming on, because I am very interested in doing the gaming. Must stop playing with that. A bit more ale. Wait a minute, I'm going to turn this music off now. I think I've heard it too many times. This is what langseaxes are for. You turn your music off. Good old Norwegian langseax. I love one of these. You can tell it's Norwegian because of the handle design. I feel like I turned a few of these in my time. Actually, I got a langseax knife down here somewhere. I've got one working on. I found that the other day in my garage. I've got loads of stuff like that lying about unfinished. This is going to be a nice langseax, scrum sax. At some point, it's a bit short for a langseax. I've got to figure out the handle though. It's another job to do. Pick my sword up. I don't like leaving my sword on the ground. It's a bit like having a banner touch the flat floor. It's a bad thing to do. You should look after your swords. So, a comment here from Celeste S. at Thomas Dale. They are gorgeous. I'm sure they are. And the comment here from Celtic God. You should go so far north at least once where you can get so cold trees and ice explode. Yeah, I've never really been that far north before. I couldn't really imagine what it's like to live in, Alaska or places like that when you're just so used to snow. I mean, like I said, if we get two inches of snow in the UK and then that's it, the country's just buggered. It's just ground to a halt. Nothing gets done. We just can't cope with it. When it snows, just stay indoors and drink ale. You're far better. Only if you're old enough, though. Now, a comment here from Celtic God as well. Okay, my lunch is over. Good seeing you again. Well, it's always great seeing you on the channel, Celtic. And you have a great day at work. And no doubt we'll talk again in the future, very soon. And a comment here from Thomas Dale. I'm sure the Northern Lights are wondrous. It would be good to go up north in winter. The north coast of Scotland, perhaps. Oh, one day. when I can get out and travel. It's a bit difficult at the moment with caring for my father. I can only get out for 24 hours a week, so it's not a lot. So a comment here from Thomas Dale. Fair old Celtic god. I hope work goes well. Yes, I hope so too. I hope it goes quick for you. There's nothing worse than when time drags when you're working. Any more comments? I think at some point, is he going to die soon? I can feel it on my bones. The live stream's going to die. But I think we're still okay for a minute. I know when it died, it'll just go blank. And then the live stream will still kind of continue in the chat. But there'll just be no video. I think that's Celtic going. So we'll just keep going on. I'm looking forward to getting some good sleep tonight. I'm not finished yet. I've got some more work to do. There's always more work to do. There's no rest for a Viking. I can tell you what's going to be on in the channel the next week or so. Let's have a look for you. And now I've got a diary, so I can keep my content organised, so I know when it's going to be published. So get the right date. So the next video will be out on Friday, and that is a Swedish folktale called The Twin Steers, and that folktale has a theme of the Belvedere theme. It's a very interesting folktale actually, where kind of a church falls down, so they send these two cows out with some wood, and wherever the two cows land, they build a church. So that'll be out on Friday. That's at 6 PM, and that's a premiere. I'm not sure how you're liking these premieres. So I like the premieres. I'm not sure how effective they are with the shorter videos, because some days when you've got a 5 or 8 minute video, you don't get a great deal of time to chat. So it's definitely better with the longer videos. But I think it's encouraging people to watch the content by premiering our videos. So we keep up with that. On Saturday, which is my birthday, I'll be a year older, not telling you how old I am, is a video on the Sedgefoot Talk. It's an Iron Age treasure, and I believe that's a broken talk. A fantastic find. And on the 4th of December, the folktale is going to be an Egil folktale, about a 5-minute one, and it's going to be The Boy and the Parson. And this is kind of a jocular tale from England. An old medieval folktale. And of course, next Wednesday we have the 5th episode of Reading Subs Comments, premiered at 10 o'clock at night. I'm doing those premieres a bit later so that our subs and our people who like us in America can get to join in as well. That gives enough time to people in the UK to watch and you guys. But I think it's very important to try to incorporate everybody. So that's on next Wednesday. Now, on the 7th of Friday, we have another tale from those wise men of Gotham. And this tale is called Don't Talk, but I called it The Men That Don't Talk. And it's about these 4 men in Gotham, that very famous village in the Shire of Nottinghamshire, who decide not to talk and stare at a candle. There's another jocular tale with a funny ending. And then on Saturday, the 8th of December, and I think this is about as far as we get. No, we've got some more after this. We have Egil talking about the venerable bead for about 7 minutes. So that's going to be very interesting. And then on the 11th of December, the folk tale is going to be The Tinker and the Devil. And it's the first of a few folk tales revolving around the devil. And I'm not sure whether this is my version or Egil's, so that'll be a surprise for you. And then on the 12th of December, we have Reading Subscribers Comments episode 6. Then after that we'll need to film some more, which I expect we have the comments to do. So they'll be filmed. On the 14th of December we have a folktale which has been out on the channel before. It's called The Three Sillies, but this is a folktale told by me and Egil. And there's another jocular tale. It's a very amusing folktale, that one. Another of my favourite folktales. And on the 19th of December, we have the Reading Subs Comments episode 7, which I got to record. Could do that very soon. And I think that's where we got so far in December. I do have quite a few videos to make thumbnails for, them schedule and premiere, so they'll be developed in the next couple of days. And I probably have something like 30 to 50 videos to film, so I've just not been able to get out and film this last couple of weeks with the weather. And Egil's been busy. Actually, Egil's had the flu, so get well, Egil. And I should be texting him tomorrow, see how he is, and try to film on Sunday. So, and the idea is, if we can meet on a Sunday every 2 weeks, we'll do a live stream, but often Egil just can't commit, so that's a problem at times. But we'll work around that, and no doubt as the channel progresses, Egil will get more involved in that. So that's what's going to be published in the next few weeks. Lots more. Also going to be starting to record some Christmas themed folk tales around Christmas. I kind of hope it might snow, but I don't think it will do. I'm not wearing that back to front. And so we'll be telling some Christmas folk tales. That's a very heavy silver chain, that, about 20 ounces. So yeah, lots of good stuff. Oh, thank you very much. I won't be doing much on my birthday. Come round for a beer. Birthdays are normally quiet when you get old. I might see some family, but you know what family are like, they're always too busy. Yes, another year older. It just makes me think about my mum though, really. She's not around no more, but that's the way it goes. You can't live forever. So I'm looking forward to the Christmas content, and no doubt we'll be doing some Christmas live streams, but I'm quite getting into the live streaming now on my own. I was a little bit nervous to do it on my own. I think often the problem is, if I don't know the answer to the question, it kind of makes me feel, well, you know, I'm not doing a good enough job. But I think we can cover that by reading these comments out in the comments videos from the live streams, and have Egil answer what I can't answer. After all, I'm not a professional, I'm an amateur, you know. If somebody wants to give me a degree one day for doing all this work, then fair enough, but that might take 20 years. I don't have time to do a degree. I would love to do one, but... So lots planned, and I'm very excited to see what's going to happen. I'm really loving the comments. We're just about, I think we just hit today 15,000th view, which when you think about it, isn't very much on YouTube. I mean, people do that in an hour on a video. So I think really we're still very fresh. So a comment here from Sinistro S. Yay, happy birthday. Yes, another year older on Saturday, the 1st of December. I'm a December person. I'll just be drinking beer and probably eating some duck, but not the duck of evil. Nobody on the 9 roads could catch that duck. So a comment here from Thomas Dale. I do like the wise men of Gotham, or Gotham, as I first started pronouncing it, stories. There's a book with them. Or isn't there? Yes, the book was written, I think, in 1835. But the folk tales predate that, no doubt, to the lot earlier times. A lot of these folk tales was just being passed from generation to generation. They wasn't always written down. This is often why we get different versions. And another fascinating aspect of the folk tale. I don't actually have that book. I wouldn't mind getting a copy of it. But there's a few good websites. Actually, I do have the website open for the Wise Men of Gotham Tales, which I've got to make some notes to tell some more. And that is on a folktale site. I'll send you some links to some folktale sites, Thomas, so that you can try to learn some folktales. Because I would like to get you on the channel. I think this could be the longest live stream. Is that Dakota Allgood back again? What are you doing back here? I think this is comments from earlier. Let's go live. Yes, I'm definitely confused there because I'm way back in the live stream. We're going live again. So let's go back to the comments. No, I'm sure I'm not live again. Is the live stream still on? Or has it died? No, we're still on. Hey! I've been meddling with my camera to try and get the better efficiency out of the camera. Beforehand, before I played around with it, we could get about 2 hours of live stream on it. But I now stretched it to 3/4 hours. So I'm hoping now we're over 3 hours, and that'd be great if we could prolong the life of the live stream. Although I think what I do in future is that if I still want to continue live streaming, I just have to go and switch to another mobile phone until I can actually figure out how to use this camera. Because it's going to be complicated to use a digital SLR for live streaming until I figure it out. I swear to you, I'm not live because I'm just reading your comments what I read earlier. So, here's a comment. I've not read this one. Thomas Dale, enjoyed your band practice. I hope you enjoy the live stream. You're welcome again to join. And there's a plenty of the world. Hopefully enjoy. And a comment here from Sinistral S. Thank you so much, Thomas. Big smiley face. Hope to catch more of these. Oh yes, we do have quite a few playlists. I don't know if we have too many playlists on the channel. I know playlists are a great way to organise your content and make it more accessible for people. It's often the way I like to share the content for the playlist. Certainly one of the biggest playlists we have will be the Nordic Folktales. Although I think the actual biggest folktale is the one recently uploaded content, which is always a good thing to have in your channel. But we've got that many content and folktales planned to tell, you know, it's what we're telling, what, 104 year, probably a little bit more than that. I think when I get 2 folktales told by 2 people again, I'm going to do a double premiere at some point in the next 3 weeks again, because I did enjoy that double premiere. Perhaps have the timing a bit different this time, rather than half an hour. I'm going to do one at 6 o'clock and one at 10 o'clock. And we could do a live stream on folktales afterwards. Yeah, my main idea is to try to have a live stream regularly on a Wednesday, and if I got the energy, do one on a Friday as well. But I got to have the energy. One of the problems if you don't have the energy, if you're not wide awake enough and you're tired, it does affect you. You know, you know you're tired on the channel. I mean, sometimes that can be one of the things that stops me from filming, is that I'm just too tired to film. The problem is I'm just not getting enough sleep being a carer. 4 nights a week I'm up tending to my father, taking him to the toilet a dozen times a night. So I'm always trying to catch up on my sleep. But I've had many years of insomnia, so I'm used to not having a good night's sleep. But you just get by, don't you? You know, you battle on. You know, you do what Vikings do. You just keep battling on. So a comment here from Sinistral S. Wonderful. I'm usually studying and singing, but I try to pop my head in. Good night, everybody. Well, I do like to sing as well, but I don't really know any songs from this era. You know, it's one of the things I often think about. You know, we don't have any singing from this period really. It's just not there. It's just not been recorded. But I am a mean player of the harmonica, which I don't know where it is. Harmonica's disappeared. Oh, look at that. Leg bindings. Forever coming undone. Behave yourself, leg bindings. Of course, if we ever start a later channel, and I know me and Egil have talked about starting a 19th century history channel, I might do some singing on that. So I do know many a song. I've not got the best voice. Got a loud voice. Yes, I think Dakota went ages ago. Yes, I don't know what all that was about. That's our first troll, you could say. Well, I hope they come back and are nicer next time. Just don't swear on the live stream, please, and in your comments, because I can't really read them out, you know. And he was quite offensive. I've seen far worse comments. We'll save them for reading bad comments video. We'll make a note of it. It's still on for you. That's good. I think the camera's still going, so that's great. I think before we go, I might tell you a little folk tale. There was once this man, and he was a hunter, and he was in Norway, not far from the northern Norway, from a place called Finnmark, although I could be wrong on where Finnmark is. And one day he was out in the woods, he was hunting, and he saw this most marvellous white bear. And this folktale is called The Cat on the Doffreyfell. And he saw this white bear and he thought, well, if I could catch this bear, I could present it to the King of Denmark. And then as a Viking, I could claim some fame and some wealth. And after all, every Viking wanted to watch fame and wealth. Oh, that's great. So he decided to catch the bear, and this is what he did. He caught the bear. And the bear was still quite young, and he managed to tame the bear within a few days. And it was getting late in the year. In fact, it was very close to Christmas. And he decided that he'd best start walking down south, as he wanted to go to Denmark with this bear, take it across the sea and present it to this King of Denmark. For he had heard that he loved animals, and he imagined he'll get some wealth and fame. So he'd been walking with the bear, and it started to snow, and the snow came down heavier and heavier, and to the point he got a little bit worried, but he didn't want to be caught out in the snow. You know, he could easily freeze to death, although he did have some good wool clothing. But in the distance he saw this longhouse, a farmstead. So he went up, he knocked on the door. Hello, can you put me up? Me and my bear, we're looking for some lodgings. And this man, a farmer, came up and said, well, sorry, we can't do that. It's Christmas Eve. And the hunter said, well, why can't you put me up? And said, well, every Christmas Day we have a family of trolls come down from the woods. And they stay in our longhouse, and they eat all our food and drink all our ale and beer, and we have to go and stay in the outbuilding in the barn. Well, the hunter said, well, you've got nothing to lose by letting me and my bear stay in your longhouse. I will sleep in your outroom, and the bear can sleep by the stove, the hearth. And this is what the hunter did. He got settled down, and the bear was asleep by the fire, when suddenly a family of trolls came down and entered the longhouse. And these were very ugly trolls. Some had big eyes, some had big bulbous nose with spots and a massive head. And there were some young trolls, and they was there eating all the farmer's food, getting ready for spend Christmas Day with them. It was Christmas Eve. And one of the younger bears, one of the younger trolls, you know, he kept on throwing things and meat at the bear. And after a while, well, the bear wasn't very happy about this, and quickly got up and chased all the trolls out of the house and beat them all up. And then he ran back to the woods. Well, the next day, it was Christmas Day, and the farmer, well, he was very happy. He said, well, you chased away these trolls, and this is the first time in many years that I've been able to spend Christmas Day with my family in my longhouse. And he invited the hunter to stay, which he did for a day with the bear, and they feasted. They feasted on meat and bread and all the luxury of food that they'd been saving. And the next day the hunter left. He was on his way with the bear to Denmark. And a year passed. It was the same time of year. It was Christmas Eve, and our farmer, the old man of the farm, well, he was in a wood with an axe, behind an axe. Don't have an axe. He was chopping some wood, some logs for the hearth. And out in the forest shouted a voice, "Oi! Has that bear left?" And the man, being the farmer, well, he was very clever. He said, "Oh, no, the bear's still there." "Well, in that case," shouted the troll, "we're no longer coming on Christmas Day to your farmstead. We'll find somewhere else to go and eat." And they did that. And no more did the farmer have any problems with the trolls, for they would not dare to go back, thinking that the bear was there. The end of the tale. The cat on the Doffrey foe. I'm going to tell that soon for Christmas. Another great little folk tale. So go back to your comments. Sinestral S, I'm your 444th subscriber. Yay! See you guys. Well, that's fantastic. Welcome to the channel, and I totally thank you for subscribing. I cannot express how grateful me and Egil are. It's just totally awesome. I don't know where my harmonica is. If I can find it, I'll play you a tune. It travels around my room a lot, does my harmonica. I got a few of them. But it's a pity Vikings didn't have harmonicas. I feel like I should go back in time and get one to invent one. Yeah, it's something we keep talking about, me and Egil, doing a 19th century channel. I mean, I could talk about the American Civil War in depth, but I wouldn't be really happy wearing my Brooklyn uniform because I think that would be totally and utterly disrespectful. So I'd have to just be a standard Union troop with no designation to any regiment. Because again, being so close and with people still alive. One of the amazing facts about the American Civil War is that still today in England there are widows of Confederate soldiers still getting a pension. And I know that's true in America. Whether that's true now, it's certainly true a few years back. It's quite amazing to think that if a Confederate soldier lived until the 1940s and got married and the wife was still around as a widow, she will be receiving a pension from that soldier's serving in the American Civil War. So that's a fascinating fact of the American Civil War. And people say, well, what's England got to do with it? Well, we was vastly, invested in the war. We were banking on both sides to win. It's a shame the Confederacy didn't abandon slavery, because then Britain would have certainly gone in, and then the American Civil War would have been a totally different outcome. But that's something too late on the channel. But I spent many years in the American Civil War Society, the ACWS, and I highly recommend them. Anybody interested in that era of history, although they're not as big as they used to be. It's a shame, because I can remember the days when there was 1,000 people in the society. And at the international events, there'll be, 1,000 people on each side. But now, you don't get anywhere near those numbers. But that's the face of reenactment. Reenactment has so much changed over the years. In many ways, it's become smaller and better. Because it's now focused on living history, which is a very important aspect of reenactment. It's not all about the battles. It's about the daily life. Or the people, the folk. So any more questions before this live stream eventually dies? I like this axe, it's one of my favourite axes. It's a great axe for hooking a shield. It's also got a very nice handle. In fact, I started doing some carving. I'm working on, it's going to be Thor, and he's got the Umangand. He's on a boat. I've got to finish that off at some point. Any more questions, anybody? It's getting towards that time of the night when the live stream dies, and I'll go back into the modern world and get out my Viking clothing. I think this time I go downstairs without wearing my big boots on. They're very noisy. And wooden floors are my shoes. Boots. Of course, that's another folk tale I've not told yet, is the 4th boot story. I've told 3 of them, and there's one more to go. I'm going to record that soon, and I'm going to have that playlist done and sorted. Really good little stories then. Have you seen those stories, Thomas Dale, the boot stories? You got Boot, who ate the match with the troll. That's a great one. I know that one off by heart. And then you got Boot, who made the princess say, now that's a story. Now I know you've seen that one. And then you got Boots and his brothers. I think it's the 3rd one. When he finds the magical axe and the magical spade and the magical source of water it's in a acorn. Bragi Blues Viking. Oh yeah. Yes, that could be an alternative channel. The Bragi Blues. Yeah, I do like a bit of blues music now and again. But yeah, it's a big aspect. We don't have any of the music left from the Viking times and the Saxon times. It's a shame, because I imagine some of the music going on in the longhouses and the great halls would have been just fantastic to witness and be around. Because it makes you think, singing is a very old thing. We've been singing as long as we've been talking on this planet. A fascinating subject. And of course, at some point, we are going to buy an Anglo Saxon lyre, so I can strum along. Of course, we've still got to do this idea of doing some Viking poetry at some point as well, where we're just going to spontaneously start pointing out some Viking poetry. It's something I've been thinking about a lot, rather than just trying to memorise stuff, because I can never memorise a whole Viking poem. It's too much from my head. But certainly having a go at just, you know, impromptu Viking poetry, because I think they would have done that as a Scot or a Skald. You would have had a few of your tales you would have known off by heart, and then you might have made some up on the spot. And we're still here. I can't believe we're live streaming for this long. This has to be a record on the channel. How long has it been, Thomas? It's got to be over 3 hours, surely. It's a lot cooler now as well. I was very warm earlier. It shows you how warm this kit is. I often call it kit. This is a modern reenactorism. But you know, you often better I'll get my Viking kit on. I don't like the word costume. So, comment here from Thomas Dale. You could be Bragi bluesman with your harmonica and the 19th century history channel. Would be good, it would be. But we can't do too many things at once. It's hard enough trying to run one channel, let alone 2 or 3. But at some point we will do. But we'll look at alternative ideas or alternative channels. Whether that's the adult version of this channel or the one where we do gaming on. Because gaming content will be a lot easier to make in an aspect. I think it would be, yeah. And there's some fantastic games out there like Skyrim. I think we'd definitely play that if we do a gaming channel. Although I'm not a brilliant gamer. I'm only an average gamer, so don't expect me to go out and be a spectacular and brilliant gamer. But then would you really want that? I don't think you would. But I think watching somebody really good on a gaming channel just gets a bit boring. You know, you want the controversy of somebody not being too good. So I comment here from Thomas Dale. I think I saw some American Civil War reenactment when I was about 4 at a country show once. Yeah, I might have been there. I don't know. Depending what year was it? When would you have been 4? About in the early 90s. Probably too early for me. But I bet you I would have known people who was there. Some of the old legends of the society. I don't know why, but I'd like carrying an axe like this. There's something nice about having an axe in your hand. I'm so surprised we're still going. I'm not lost my voice yet. You do have to worry, you just get into your own voice instead of using my gaming voice or in the case the channel voice. But the problem is I use my own voice, I just talk too fast. So I have to try to slow down and pronounce things. I think the weirdest reenactment I ever took part in was when I volunteered to do a Vietnam reenactment, and they had a load of Vietnam takeaway workers and Chinese takeaway workers of the Vietnamese. That was funny. But I think the most funniest one I ever saw was the Boer War Society, when they didn't have any Boers to fight or any, you know, the African tribes, so they just had invisible enemies. That's most amusing. So a comment here from Thomas Dale. I reckon that a 19th century channel would be a good. I can't remember seeing many of the Boots tales. I'll watch them. There is a playlist. And I'd like to know who the third watcher is. Please leave a comment. I know me and Thomas are watching this. As you have to watch it yourself to see the comments. But don't be shy. Leave a comment if you are the third watcher. We don't bite on this channel. We are very friendly. Yeah, I do like the Boots tales. It's just sort of the fun to learn. It's a really good Boots tale, but it revolves around this troll. And it has to trick this troll to get the troll's treasure for the king. So it's a really good story. So a comment here from Thomas Dale. I'd like to try and write some Viking style poetry. Yeah, I've written some in the past, many years ago. It's another cool idea. You just got to get the rhyming structure right of Viking poetry, and generally have 5 or 6 syllables. or words anyway. So it's about 3.5 hours. Oh, wow. You often just don't appreciate how time flies on these live streams, but it doesn't. I don't feel like I've been here for 3.5 hours in front of a camera. Honestly, I don't. I feel like I've been here for 90 minutes or 2 hours. So brilliant. Oh yeah, everybody needs a toss of the axe now and again. Yeah, I was thinking about if we get some wood down here, we could in my garden make an axe throwing post again, and we could do some axe throwing. Like, have you done any axe throwing? I love axe throwing. I like the double that way. It's a great way of doing it. And also the old single-handed way. But I was quite good at axe throwing. I used to do it with Max, you know, the Olaf, down the farm. In fact, I've even been behind the axe target and filmed it from behind, and they were throwing axes at it. That was also cool. But I did it with him when the axes actually went over the top and hit him on the head. Oh, poor old Max. If you're out there, Max, hello. I hope your life's okay. I think he's in Manchester now. Another old Viking. I met many an old Viking in my time. Well, we'll just keep liking until it dies. That's my philosophy. I'm not quite tired yet. I'll still be up anyway, so. And one of the things you need on the channel to get monetized is watch time. You need 4,000 hours a year, and you need 1,000 subs. But when we get to 1,000 subs, we get something called the community tab. It's where we can share videos with the community. So that's something we'll really want to get onto when we do get 1,000 subs. So I think that's going to be a great way to communicate with the people on the channel and to share videos and share discoveries. So a comment here from Thomas Dale. It was about 1990 when I saw the American Civil War reenactment. Yeah, I didn't join until about 96, 95. No, I joined earlier than that. I joined in 1993. I was 17. I went up to a wargaming event in Sheffield with a very old friend of mine called Sean Devereux, and he's actually related to Colonel Devereux from the English Civil War, and also related to the Devereux of Devereux Tower of the Tower of London. And I've not seen Sean for many years, so I hope Sean's okay. Lovely man. And we was both, he was a bit older than me, by about 3 or 4 years. And we went up to this Sheffield wargaming event. And I met a man there, the American Civil War Society were advertising and recruiting. And I met a man called Philip Clark, or also known as Huggy Bear, on camp. Very well known for cocktails. And he went and took me and Sean, bought us a beer, and we had a chat about having a go. And I think the next weekend we was in Bolton at like a scout hut for the first time, and that was my first experience in reenactment. And at that weekend I met a couple called Linda and Jeff Gallagher. Lovely couple, completely mad. They've got some amazing stories. Some of the stories they've told about what they've done in their lives just had me in stitches. But I'm not sure whether a lot of my American Civil War friends watch the content or even know I do this on YouTube. And I know me and Paul Farber have talked about doing a channel for the American Civil War Society, or at least making content for it. Because it is a great society, one that I've been very proud to be a member of over the years. And I must get back to join again. Although controversial, I'm thinking about being a Confederate for a change. Although that's very, very hard to do because I'm too much of a unionist. I'm too much liking to wearing blue. Though we often call that the dark side, the Union side. It's like the dark side of the force. I don't know why that reference is used often. But I made lots of very good friends in that society. And also seen lots of very good friends come and go and pass away. Friends like my old mate Smokey, who I'll never forget. A true legend. Do you have any more comments before this ends? probably going to end it soon because we could be here for another 2 hours. And I don't think I've got it in me to talk another 2 hours. But my back's aching. It gets your neck. He's wearing this silver jewellery. It's heavy. It makes you think when I think about the Iron Age torques, because they must have been a lot stronger. If you had a torque that weighed a kilogram of gold, now that's a lot of weight to have around your neck. And if you was born into a royal family, then you must have had a torque at your early age, and then your torques must have got bigger, so you must have got used to it, and your neck must have built up those muscles. But then again, you know, we often forget that men in those times were tougher because they had to work the land every day. They had to walk everywhere, you know, even if you didn't have the money for throwing a horse. So people were a lot tougher. But I know if I wore a 1 kilogram torque for a day, I'd have serious neck ache. So it makes you think how they managed to wear those torques in the Iron Age and not have serious neck ache. They must have had very, very thick necks. But then again, men were much tougher. And so were the women. So I commented from Thomas Dale. I've never done any axe throwing. I'd like to try some. It's fun. You can't beat axe throwing. It's just something very nice. We used to do it down in the Alistair Park. There was a dead tree what fell down, an old beach, and me and a guy called Wavy Dave used to go out there regular. Oh, I don't think you'll ever see Wavy Dave on the channel. Not heard from Dave for a while. Hope you're okay, Dave. And your family's all right. It would be great to get you on, and you could talk about the Viking. Your Viking are a great society, which I'm not a member of. I don't have the time to be members of societies. I can't even get away for the weekend. Yeah, we'll definitely do some axe throwing, whether we do it up the wood or we make a target. To make an axe throwing target, we'll just have to get some 4x4 posts, which I do have quite a few stored away, and dig a trench. And then we'll have to make a frame, and then put the frame in the ground and bury it, so it doesn't fall over. And then we can go for axes. But also, it'll also make a good backlock if it looks authentic, the wood-wise. Yeah, it could be something good to do on camera. You've got Egil telling a tale. You could have me in the background throwing my axe. I don't think I'll get it in every time because it has to be a sharp axe. I'll have to make a new handle though for my axe throwing axe, because the old one had duct tape on it because it broke in the middle. That made it non-authentic. But I think I'm going to do that on camera. I'm going to definitely sit down, find a nice bit of wood, and demonstrate in an hour how you can make an axe handle. Because I can do that. You know, it's very easy to make one of them. If you've got a wood horse and a good draw blade, there's nothing better than making your own stuff. You just get a nice feeling that I made that. Anyway, I think I'm going to end the live stream because I don't know how long we're going to continue for, and it'd be quite nice to have a live stream end where I say goodbye rather than just disappear. As I was saying that, I'll probably just disappear in a minute with Sod's Law. So for now, it is me, Bragi, saying goodbye. But I'd just like to say thank you to all the guys and everybody who left comments in the videos on this live stream. Thomas, Celtic, Cheetah, Seneschal S. Have we missed anybody? I'll have to just go back up. Of course, the guy who left strange comments, hello to you. You too can see those strange comments in the video. And until the next time, I may plan to do a live stream this Friday. It all depends on how much energy I got if I'm not too tired. Because as you can understand, making content on YouTube is very tiring at times. And you definitely do need to take a break. So, unless you've got any more comments, Thomas, just go back, make sure I've not missed anything. Oh yeah, a comment here from Thomas Dale, and that's really cool on all the American Civil War stuff. Oh yeah, I mean, if you pop round here sometime, I'll show you a lot of American Civil War equipment, including authentic original bits I have. One of the most interesting facts about the American Civil War is that in World War One, the British government actually brought from America thousands of Confederate greatcoats, which we use for our British troops. So you never would have thought that the English troops of World War One were wearing Confederate greatcoats, which were basically been in storage for many years. But that's a fascinating fact in itself. One that always amazes me. And it was a brutal war, it really was. I mean, a Viking battle must have been brutal. Chopped limbs, and, you know, you got an axe cut to your arm, you're pretty much dead. So, you know, the wounds you would have got in the Viking, in Dark Age battle would have been very, very vicious. It would not have been a nice sight to see. You know, when you read about a battlefield just being blood red, really you can understand that. It's kind of get to the point where you haven't got nothing more to say, really. What do you want me to say? What can I speak about? I've been blurred most of the time. I hope I'm not blurry on your picture, Thomas, because that would be really bad. I think it's just my TV that's blurry. I mean, I do hope we're not blurry in the live stream. It's not really good having a blurred picture. I think this cam kind of struggles at night, but it's got low light. So your low light latency in your camera, it just kind of struggles, and then you get this kind of grainy effect around. It's not too bad, this camera, it just about copes. I'm thinking about getting these trousers, and I'm going to take them apart soon. These are my first pair of trousers, but the gusset's gone under there some years ago. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually take them all apart, then I'm going to use them for the pattern to get more trousers, and then hand sew them back together again. But that kind of shows commitment, because there's quite a few hours of work hand sewing that. I mean, you could cheat and use a sewing machine, but I don't really believe in doing that. Not when you can pin it and then sew it by hand. And you know, you don't do it all in one go. You sew a little bit at a time, a bit each day, and before you know it, your project's done and you're on to your next bit of sewing. But the one thing I've not really done, I've not ventured into, is leather work, because I do have lots of leather. In fact, I have lots and lots of leather in the attic. I've got a few cars worth. A comment here from Thomas Dale, duct tape of evil. Well, it was, well, I won't say duct tape's evil. Duct tape's very useful. In fact, everybody in their bug out kit bag should have duct tape. I mean, certainly if that handle broke and it's a modern axe, duct tape that up and it will last. Not if it's a complete break though, because then you've got to make a new handle. Oh, are you going now? Farewell. Yes, I'm going to go in a minute. Fare thee well. And you get some good sleep. I'm going to mosey on, have another beer before I go to bed, and think about sleeping and hoping I'll get to sleep. Although I might watch an episode of Star Trek before I go to bed. I think we've done well today. Anyway, I'm going to end it now. So thank you for watching. This back end of this live stream hasn't been too boring for you. And if you got this far, well, you're just totally awesome, dude. Or dudette if you're a lady. And until the next live stream or video on the channel, it is goodbye. Goodbye, Thomas, and goodbye, folks. You have a nice day tomorrow. And look after yourselves. Because I've got to figure out how to end it now. It's not ending. Stop, go!